The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests.
Hello. What was weird? What's going on? 276. Today's date is Tuesday, January 24th, 2023. We are live on YouTube. If you're out there in the chat, make sure you say something. We know you're out there, unless you do. Utilize the Ghost Tactical Rod Shelley Gates at Egypt. That 036444678. It's been a while. 4678. If you are a veteran, really anybody, but especially if you're a veteran and you're out there, you're in the hole, you're in that darkness, and you're looking for the light. Call me, text me, email me 24/7. I cannot give you medical advice, but I might be able to help you and be a decent way to talk through. If you are looking for someone to get you medical attention, remember two things. One, you are not alone in this fight. You have a lot of brothers out here that are willing and able to help you in any way. And two, the world is a much better place with you in it. So please utilize the Veteran Crisis Hotline, 1-800-273-8255. Once again, 1-800-273-8255. We are spotlighting, as always, the United States Marine Corps. If you have any questions on what it takes to earn the title United States Marine, see the website marines.com. And as always, we're a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. Go check out all your favorite pro gun, pro two-way podcasts over at selfdefenseradio.net. We take this off of my ugly mug and bring in a full house, a pretty full house already. 8 people. Get some more people that might be a Hawks. Matter of fact, I think I've got one right there. Add that one real quick. So we'll say hello to everyone real quick. I hope everybody's having a great time. Obviously, we did not have a show last week with SHOT Show going on, and that's pretty much exactly what we're going to talk about tonight is SHOT Show. So let's start out with our good buddy from out in Arizona. We missed you last week, buddy. What's going on, John? How you doing, bro?
I am doing fantastic. It is cold in Arizona, so I don't understand.
Like 63, something like that.
No, it was like 31 this morning. It was bad, but I still wore shorts and I kept to my promise, so that's all that matters.
Let's see here. I'm bad choppy. Is that what it says? That's fine. I can kill the cam. Audio, hopefully that works better. Yeah, we missed you last week, and I know that Clover was up in Flagstaff a couple days ago driving through. So the snow was pretty good. So I guess even Arizona can get a little chilly, you know. We're getting snow right now. It's coming down pretty hard where I'm living. It's, you know, for Arkansas, I know people are going to laugh out there. Oh, it's not that much. We probably already got at least 6-7 inches of snow in the last few hours, at least where I live. And I know that's not a whole lot, but in Arkansas, that's a lot of snow. From the state that is the shortest letters in the state, in the country, but takes 2 people to spell it out. From the interesting state of Ohio, I want to say that somewhere in Ohio is the center of the world. I think that's what someone said. Google said that one time or whatever. But we got Chris from the 740. What's up, man?
Not much, man. Thank you for the invite. Glad to be here.
Yeah, bro.
Ready to talk about SHOT Show.
Yeah. So this thing they called SHOT Show, I guess it happened last week. I don't know. We'll have to talk a little bit about it. It's kind of interesting. For, I guess, if you're the OH of Ohio, the other IO from Ohio is right there below you. We got our buddy Mike from MK Outdoor Journal, affectionately known and will always be known as Budget. What's up, homie?
I'm alive. That's what's up. I came home with a souvenir I didn't want. I've been in bed since I got back, man. Freaking crud got me.
Yeah, it's It happens. I'm not going to lie. It does happen. We've all had the crud of some sort to some extent. But yeah, I'm glad that you're at least here and able to hang out for a little bit. New to our show as far as being on the panel, it's good to have her. She was her first time at SHOT Show. We'll get into that, and she rocked it. She kicked ass last week. What's up, She Fires? How are you?
Hello there. Thank you so much for having me. Good evening, gentlemen in chat. Yeah, it was amazing. Thanks for having me here to kind of share with you.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear kind of you and Mike were both first year rookies there. I think Chris also was a rookie. It'll be interesting to kind of get your guys' take on a little bit of what you maybe expected going into it versus the reality of SHOT and all that. But we'll definitely get you bringing here. And what in the hell are you doing, Clover? Just you know, you give someone a little bit power and they get you all screwed up. So now he's moving around people. Huh?
You're on Chase right now. Well, I thought it would be appropriate because we were talking about first timers, right? So you're in the number one spot. I've got John and Chase, who are industry side. All across the middle is the new people, and then at the bottom is the old fogies. So
old fogies.
I was just trying to organize. That's all.
You're younger than I am, dude. I think Snob's younger than I am too.
Well, you would be down here too, but you're the host, so there you go.
Damn straight, I'm the host. So quit fucking with me. All right. So let's go back up here now, so I don't get screwed up. It looks like he's having a drink. Oh, that's just his avatar. He's probably having a drink also. Our good buddy from EAA, who had an interesting week and is still having an interesting time in life. We'll jump into that a little bit, but from EAA, we got Chase. What's going on, bud?
What's up, man? How are you?
I was not expecting to see you tonight, honestly. I figured, you know.
I mean, I've been up since 1:30 Eastern, and now I'm sitting in Arizona, and I concur with John. It's freaking cold for Arizona. I was not expecting to get off a plane to like 36 degrees in Phoenix.
Well, yeah. I'm glad to see you, but I figured you'd be asleep by now. Just saying.
I mean, I probably should be, but you know, I'm a glutton for punishment.
I hear you. And from Oklahoma, the Okie from Muskogee, or actually from Chelsea, we'll call him that. He is the biggest snob I know, and he's also called the gun snob. What's up, man?
Yeah.
Are you sick, or are you just being you?
No, I'm just being me. I'm not a big baby like budget to get sick.
I know, right? I mean, you know, these rookies get, you know, it's what it is.
I accept that.
Yeah, I'm confused. Fair. It's a fair statement. It's all good now. We're glad to have you, Snob. Thanks for coming on. And from Arizona, the Godfather himself. What's up, G? How are you?
Fair to Midland. Thanks for hosting. Thanks for the link.
Absolutely. You're always welcome. And riding shotgun as always. The tactical virus. I mean, Leprechaun himself. Oh, more importantly, G brought the pug. So we've got the pug with us. So it's nice to have the pug.
They got the kennel cop, so he's underneath the blanket. It's super cold here.
There you go. The tactical virus. I mean, Leprechaun himself. What's up, Clove? How are you?
Hey, man, I'm here.
Yeah, you just rolled into town yesterday. I think you just got home, so it was like a 10-day excursion for you.
Last night, man, 11 days basically. Yeah.
Lovely. I know we saw a bunch of stuff at SHOT, but do you have a shotgun of the week?
You know what? And you've seen it. That's the one I'm going to bring up. And that MS 1203. What is that? Husan or whatever, that the AR pistol shotgun.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty sweet, actually.
I mean, I don't know anything about it. Maybe the biggest piece of trash, but you talk about looking good. It sure looked good. I can tell you that much.
It did look good. No, it definitely looked good. There was some, they had some cool stuff in that booth. I can't wait to talk with them. But yeah, that was definitely a cool one for sure. All right. We usually spend this time doing the polls, but we didn't put any polls out last week. So we're just going to kind of jump in and people there. Most everyone on this panel has been on my show, except for maybe She-Fire. So we were talking a little bit beforehand. By the way, first of all, sorry for being a little late. Had no cell service. And unfortunately, when you don't have cell service where I live, you don't have internet as well. So it's what it is. But She-Fires, Kelly's going to have to understand, which I don't think she's going to have a problem at all. But if you want to say something around these guys, you can't. Chris will attest to this. You can't just kind of sit back and hope that you get a second. I will try to do my best to keep it somewhat structured. But I tell you what, if you need to say something, just tell us to shut the hell up and all that. We will be quiet. I promise you.
Just be like me or Clover and just start talking over you until you get your points across.
Really helps if you get loud. It really helps.
Yeah,
I wasn't going to say anything, but Clover is the hero and the master of over talking somebody. So.
I mean, it reminds me of like Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving dinner at my grandparents' house where you got like 40 people. Everybody's trying to talk over each other.
Right. I want to bring in the rookies first, and this is not a derogatory comment when I say this. I call you the rookies. It's what you were. Bring in Chris real quick and say, Chris, first year shot overall. Good week, bad week. Was it? How would you describe your first week at shot?
Very successful. I
good.
Got a lot of deals in the works and. Monday started out rough. Sunday night, I don't think I slept at all Sunday night in the hotel. I was like, had anxiety, and I'm like, first shot show. Got out to range day, and I was exhausted right out the gate. And then the weather sucked, and the wind and the rain. And then about 1 o'clock, I just had enough, and I was like, I'm gonna get on a bus and go back. I missed half the booths out there. I shot a lot of the guns, but a lot of them I didn't shoot that I wanted to. But Tuesday morning, once I hit the basement, found my groove, and I just took off and did my thing the rest of the week. So real happy.
I saw you. Good.
I was going to say, sleep and shot show don't go together anyway. So
no.
That is correct.
They don't. If you're able to get 4 hours on average of sleep a night, you're probably pretty lucky. Let's be honest. Especially
if you get more than 4 hours sleep, you're not doing shot show right.
I don't know. I got six plus. You can still do it.
You can. Six is pretty magical. That's pretty strong right there to get 6 hours of sleep a night. But
I think it's important because you can start losing it. You start losing track of stuff and first impressions, and I don't know. I think you can do it with. You can get 6 hours, especially with Uber and stuff. You guys aren't even getting into parking and stuff. Well, I guess maybe some of you are parking.
No, I had an Uber a couple different times, which is okay. I mean, I'm used to that. I'm used to having to go to a couple different places that Clover and those guys aren't going to go to, and so I had to Uber. So Uber is not bad. Bringing Kelly from She-Fires, and I want to bring her in. And overall, right off the bat, a good week, bad week, interesting. What was your first take?
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, like Chris, I had a little bit of anxiety also. I think it helped. I got there late Saturday, late evening or early evening. So I had Sunday just to kind of get my bearings and pick up my media pass, all that jazz. So that definitely helped. And then starting early with the days, kind of getting a head start with folks. Yeah. So it was amazing. You guys prepared us newbies really, really well, I feel.
Well, that's the one thing that is always helpful, at least for me, is when I first went my first one, I had G and a few others that were instrumental in helping us and making sure that we kind of understood what what to prepare for and all of that. Now, obviously, the same thing we did with everybody else, but obviously, there are just some things that you're going to have to like go through and learn on your own. And that's just, there's nothing you can prepare people for. You can tell them different things, but there's some things you just have to like learn on your own, like getting 4 hours sleep and all of this stuff. But yeah, you guys, you did a great job. It was nice meeting you and your husband, and just honestly, just seeing how you worked. And actually, I didn't see you very much, which is a good thing because it means that you were out there working and all of that. So that's such a great thing. Bring in Mike real quick from MK Outdoor Journal. And Mike, unfortunately had the huge problem of staying with Clover and I. And there were times that we were up until almost 2 o'clock in the morning after getting home from wherever we were, and we're still pumped and all that, and doing our nightly after action report. And unfortunately, Mike got tied up in that a couple times. So first of all, sorry for keeping you up, but hope you had a great week.
Conversations. Those were good conversations, man.
He did an excellent job holding down the fort, literally. Though.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Mike lived in the Harry Potter portion of the house. He lived in the room underneath the stairs. And
let's not put any bones on it. They shoved me under the steps. That's what happened.
Literally. But it's like the coolest place in the world to be. It was dark for the most part. You could have had a badass fort in there. It was a pretty sweet place. I'm kind of
surprised they didn't chain me out in the little courtyard there. That's what I'm kind of surprised didn't happen. But that's okay.
Well, if we weren't smoking a lot, then I have standards. I didn't want to keep you out there while I'd be smoking. But if we weren't smokers, you definitely would have stayed outside. For you overall, aside from getting the crud, which happens a lot, everyone gets the crud eventually, but aside from getting the crud, expectations of going in versus reality, what were they?
It was pretty much spot on for me.
Okay,
I've had the leg up of going to shows like the NRA annual meeting. I went to the USCCA Expo, and I've attended other trade shows. So I kind of had an idea what to expect, and it was just those shows on a much, much larger scale and without the general public. And that's pretty much what I got. There was a lot more ground to cover, a lot more people to see, and a lot more contacts to be made. But, I also had the advantage of having listened to shows like this for the last 3 years. Every time SHOT Show rolls around, this is, people start having shows on, going to SHOT Show and what you can expect. And, listen to these conversations. So I had a rough idea what to expect. And it was pretty much exactly what I thought. And it was freaking cool. Nice. Is it time for SHOT Show yet?
Exactly. It's always time for SHOT Show.
That's what I was going to ask for the three. Because we know Chris this year, not spoiling anything. I think we talked about it before, but Chris had some hesitation. So my question for all three, and just start with Chris and run down the line. But having experienced your first SHOT Show now, do you wish you would have had the opportunity had gone before now?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh hell yeah.
Yes.
So for anybody out there that's putting it off, there you go. Right.
That's right.
If you can align things so that you can go.
Right. Well, sure. Absolutely.
That's that.
Yeah. So I guess the next question is I'm assuming y'all are going to go back next year, assuming that, the world's still around and all of that. You guys are going to plan on going back.
Already planning for it.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm definitely going back. As long as I still have a channel, I'm going back.
Yeah, this is something that, Clover brought up, and this is something we talk about every year. And there's a lot of people out there that were watching our shows kind of leading to SHOT. G-Webs and Clover, they were doing a weekly show on Tuesdays for months leading up. And the same thing, and it happens every year. I wish I could go, or I couldn't take the time off, or I don't have the money. And I understand those things. Here's the thing. We know when SHOT is every year. They've already released the dates for 2024. there is no excuse to not be able to have enough time to ask for days off. If you are worried about money, you've got literally a year to, I would say if you could save up $1,000, that should cover easily your travel there, your rooms if you do it smartly, your all that, and food. If you do it smartly, you can, like we did. We had 5 people in our condo, and we stayed for basically 25, somewhere between $20 and $25 a night, which is unheard of in Vegas, but you can do it that way. If you do the parties right, or you get hooked up with different things, coupons or whatever, you can eat for fairly cheap or nothing in Vegas. If you're driving or flying, just be on the lookout for prices and all of that. You can go relatively cheaply. So there's always a way to go. And this is one of the weeks that if you have the availability to go, instead of figuring out how you can't go, make sure if you've got to sell a gun. I know people that have sold guns to make sure they can get to SHOT Show. If you're in this media world, especially the social media side of things of the industry, and you're wanting to be part of this industry and this community, and you're not going to SHOT, you're not ever going to get where you need to be. SHOT Show is crucial for you to get to. So I want to bring in John.
Can I make one?
Absolutely. Go for it, Mike. 100%.
If you're in the media side of things, and I'm sure it holds true with the industry side of things as well, SHOT Show is an investment. You have to look at it like that. The expense that it takes for you to go to SHOT Show is an investment. It's an investment that will pay dividends to you based upon how hard you work it, making contacts, networking with people there. That's how I chose to look at it. I don't know. Am I completely off there?
No, that's 100%.
No, that's exactly right. I actually bring in John and Chase and let them talk a little bit about this from the industry side of things. These guys have both been there as part of the industry, and we're talking about from the media side. It's the same thing from the industrial side as well. It's an investment to be at SHOT Show, but hopefully there's a big return on investment throughout the year. Bringing John real quick, who unfortunately wasn't there. I was really hoping to see you, but some things happened last minute in life that happens that wasn't able to bring in. How hard was last week knowing that everybody that your good friends within the industry was there, and you were not able to make it?
It was really hard, because I've been going to SHOT for 4 years now, and to be sitting there watching everything happen through your phone was really brought me back to like the humble beginnings of before I was at SHOT, and it was cool again seeing it from a non-industry person, kind of seeing the new things, kind of seeing what was going on. And at the same time though, like I didn't get to meet with you. I didn't get to meet with all you guys, which is really what SHOT for me is about. It's there's two things. Like when it was selling stuff, it was all about making connections with dealers, and then lot of follow-up. But from where I sit now in the marketing side, it's a lot of meeting with you guys, talking, hey, let's plan out for the year. Let's see what you guys got planned, what's going on. And a lot of good conversations happen at SHOT. You learn a lot of cool things. So it sucked, but life happens and you got to roll with the punches, unfortunately.
Absolutely. We definitely missed having you there for sure. And we're not going to go into too much, but just to say we missed you a little bit, but a little bit, not a lot, a little bit. But
I missed you, and I missed seeing Chris and everybody else in here, but Clover, it was a great time not to see him, unfortunately.
I mean, I had to stay with that guy, so imagine how I felt. I'm just saying.
I got that a lot this year. It's like, man, you again? I'm like, yeah.
To be honest, Clove, like, behind your back, like everyone says that every year. Oh, man, Clove,
I know.
We love to hate him. It's all right.
You did miss out on all the free Lucky Charms, though.
This is true.
Yeah.
And the special.
There's probably
and the
still some
specials
rolled up in that carpet.
Yeah, probably. And the special sticker.
I mean, were they magically delicious?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Then yeah, now I really feel it. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for making me feel bad. I appreciate
It's
that.
nothing that you couldn't go down to Walmart and pick up and not miss out on. I'm not gonna lie to you. It wasn't that magical.
The magic dust was just meth. It's okay.
That wasn't dust, bro. I'm just saying. Yeah. Maybe angel dust, but yeah. Chase, from the industry side, first of all, Clover and I and a few others, Mike and Snob and some other people this week got to see a part of Shot that at least I've never seen before. I suspect most everybody hasn't. You got to see behind the scenes a little bit. Thanks to our friends at EAA, we got the opportunity to help out with them. First of all, our best wishes go out to Paul. Hope he's feeling better. But I shouldn't say we. I have a newfound respect for the industry of what you guys go through, knowing the hours that y'all have to put in, putting up the if you will, the booth, setting up for range day, the hours that you're keeping, having to entertain people at night and all that. We get to go to these parties and stuff at night and be entertained, and you had to be the one entertaining, which isn't a big deal for you because you're entertaining just in itself. But it's an interesting way to see Shot from behind the scenes a little bit. How was Shot for you? I know you guys had a lot of new products out there that were being unveiled last week. How was Shot for you last week, considering?
Excuse me. Well, I mean, obviously, considering that was definitely the craziest SHOT show we've ever had.
Right.
And like I posted, myself, and I'll say it again. Like, we really appreciate everybody, helping us out last minute, because that was a huge help and we needed it.
That's what friends are for, man. That's what friends are for.
It's just, you got to keep old men away from tiger enclosures. It'll be all right.
I'm telling, and especially when they're in their Liberace outfit.
It was
come on.
Why would you wear that? It's so ridiculous.
Right.
Feathers and sparkles, man. Just what do you do?
If you guys aren't aware, we had a friend of ours who's a member that decided he was going to go visit the old set of the Siegfried and Roy show, and had an interesting time with the tiger in his Liberace outfit. If you're not what I'm talking about, go check out Clover's video. But no, we had a good friend of ours that had some health issues, and it is what it is. You help out when you can, and you do what you can, and that's what friends are for. So yeah,
I just hope everybody stays healthy, and I don't ever have to do it again. I mean, no offense, but that's brutal.
It is brutal whenever you get stuck picking up Jeff and TJ at the airport because you guys bailed on them. I had the worst gig out of it.
You did get screwed. There's no doubt about that. But you also got to understand what the murder motel in Vegas is like.
Dude, that was sketchy. I would not have stayed there. You couldn't paid me enough to stay at that shithole he was staying at.
Oh, they were happy to walk back. Like after we tore everything down, we were all, going our separate ways. They were like giddy to walk back and see what they got into.
Which hotel was this? So I avoided.
Yeah, it was not a hotel. There was no H in it. Okay. There may have been some hoes in it, but it was not a hotel.
There's
it was next door to Circus Circus. So if you're familiar with Vegas, Circus Circus is amongst the big quote unquote casino hotels is universally and widely considered probably the worst of those big ones. And this was next to it, and apparently made Circus Circus look good. So we're going to go with that.
Yeah.
So Circus is the retirement home for working girls, basically.
And this was the hostel next to it. Yeah.
Well, the Highway Inn or whatever he was staying at, he literally put up a short talking about it, and he went in the office to ask about their Wi-Fi password, and the lady looked him up and down and said, "You're dressed really nice for staying here." And he was just wearing like a polo shirt and khakis.
That's because he had all his teeth and a needle wasn't hanging out of his arm.
Exactly.
That's fair. That is fair. Yeah. I'm going to kind of throw this out there to everybody. I'm going to start with Snob, G, and Clover that have been there before, but anyone jump in. I'm going to start by saying that last year I had said very easily that I thought last year's SHOT Show was the best SHOT Show ever from my point of view. The crowds were down, which allowed you to be able to have great conversations with the vendors and the exhibitors in the booths, and had some great conversations, which ultimately led to a lot of great work happening between our channel and these great companies. I knew this year was going to be a little bit busier, obviously, because the world is kind of getting back to normalcy. And it was bigger as far as the turnout, and a great vibe that, if people have been there before, they know the SHOT Show vibe is. And it was nice to hear the buzz back and all of that, but you were still able to have meaningful 10-15 minute conversations with people in the booths, and it was nice to maybe have a good mixture of the crowd vibe and the great conversations. But I want to kind of go to Snob and G and Clover that have been there before. In comparison to previous years, what did you guys think about this particular SHOT Show?
It was great from my view. I thought it was busier than last year, but like you said, still had plenty of time, and everybody was just in a good mood. It seemed like everything was.
Yeah.
Last year, people were stressing over the mask situation and all that, and it's just there were a lot of little things irritating everybody there, I think. And this year, it just wasn't that way. Everybody was just. It was just a good show.
I think everybody was grateful that it was kind of like back to normal. And
Yeah.
that it's like, oh man, we're all back together. It's normal again. Booths were full. I mean, we had heard that they turned down 300 booths or something.
330
Something
booths
like
or
that.
something.
Oh my
down,
God. Yeah, that they couldn't get in. So yeah, I mean, because of that, it was, take kind of the vibe last year from those there willing to work it, and then pack the house, right? And then amplify, turn that vibe up a little bit. And I think that was this year's show.
It was for me, one of the coolest things for me was Caesars, because the first year for Caesars was last year, and it was like a third full, and you're like, well, this is kind of like it's all the way across the bridge, which is very short bridge. It's a man-made bridge to walk over, but there was nobody over there, and I was like, oh man, this is kind of. Now this year it was full, and so now it has its own vibe, and for me, like the vibe that I can't wait every year is down in the dungeon, the basement, whatever you want to call it. That's when I kind of get the feeling pretty closely is all right, how's SHOT going to be? Okay, the vibe's here. Going to Caesars this year first, we had a good friend of ours in a company that decided he needed us there at 10 o'clock on Tuesday, which if you know anything about SHOT Show, having a meeting set at 10 o'clock on Tuesday is complete horseshit. But we had to do what we had to do, and we're going to give Ken hell for that, but it is what it is. But we were over in Caesars right away, and having it full and hearing its own little buzz and seeing it full, I kind of dig Caesars. Before I go to G-Webs, let's kind of just throw it out there to the room. What did you guys, even like the Rooks, what did you guys think of Caesars this year? I enjoyed it.
I thought it was awesome over there. There was a lot of good companies. I had to go because I wanted to go over and see the Zenith booth, in which they were over there. But I was really surprised, like how nice everybody was to the media too. I mean, there was times where I would just be standing there, and someone would say, "Hey, do you want to look at this? You want to do an interview about this?" And I'm like, "Sure. Well, grab the cameras. Let's go." So I really liked it over at Caesars.
Thought it was great.
Yep.
Yeah, I think for me, because this is the first time kind of seeing it, although it was separate by the bridge, it still seemed like it was one type of event altogether.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean it does. It had the same feel as like kind of like the main floor over in the Sands or Venetian, whatever they call it now. But for me, it was really nice to see it this year, because last year it was literally like a third full, and now it was full, and it was pretty awesome. Clove, G Wes, what you guys think about Caesars this year?
Well, they put the university over there, so that took up a chunk of it. So that changed the layout, and it wasn't like 3 rooms, kind of like the law enforcement rooms are, which makes it confusing when you got, essentially one big room with the wall divisions up. It just either make people miss pieces, so they simplified it, I guess. So that helped, but I don't know if people that went to the university dug having the university over there, and I don't know. We're just assuming that everybody's coming in from either the Venetian or the main Sands entrance. How many people came in from the Ferris wheel entrance? Because if you came in the Ferris wheel entrance, SHOT Show's backwards to us. You know what I
Quite
mean?
a few people did. I know for a
Yeah,
fact.
This is true. I haven't really thought of that because I've always kind of gone in through the Venetian. Now I was out by the Ferris wheel at the mobile range, and they had some really badass Humvees out there, so I spent some time out there. But I guess, if
I wanted to because I forgot last year.
Yeah.
And I totally forgot again this year. So, and I'm trying to see everything. It's just that just forgot. Didn't think about.
I didn't think about the idea of someone coming in and that's their main entrance. That the Sands is actually the back part of SHOT, which is kind of interesting to think about. But yeah,
they'd never find law enforcement rooms. Think of trying to find law enforcement rooms if you're coming in by the Ferris wheel.
It'd be a pain in the ass, honestly. Chloe, what'd you think about Caesars this year?
It was better. I mean, it being packed was good. The layout, one of the things with this that I found myself, and you'd be over at Caesars, and this speaks a little bit to what Chief Hires was talking about how it all kind of meshes together. And this really, I don't remember this happening last year, right? But this year, you would be at Caesars, and for a quick second, anyway, you would forget you weren't on the main floor. Or now downstairs, yes. I mean, it's like it's easy to tell you're down there because of the low ceiling and the whatever, right? But it was one of the things where it was like you'd be in a booth and I don't know, the way the lighting was and just, it was really nice. And you would think, oh, I'm going to run over there. And you're like, oh, crap. Yeah, I'm at Caesars. Never mind. I mean, that's all the way across the bridge, way over yonder. I'll have to get to that in a minute. So the flow, I think, was really good. I talked to a lot of people. And, when we went to range day that day, as a matter of fact, or when we went out to the mobile range out front or out back, I guess, depending on, again, which direction you're talking about. We actually met some people coming in that were coming in from that, quite a few people. So I've seen quite a few people and had some people. I had one lady, woman who carry HQ, I think her name's Chantel, that sent me a message. And she's like, I'm here, I need to find the media room. And she had came in from that side. And I'm like, holy Moses. I'm like, well, it's a long way from where you're at. You ready for a walk?
She came in from the other side trying to find the meeting room?
Right.
Oh, wow.
Right. And so it's like, come through that, come through this hallway, get to this hall, go up to the 4th floor, and walked her in pretty easily. It wasn't hard to walk her in, but yeah. So there was a lot more people using that entrance on it. I think that's good. That it breaks up the flow a little bit having that, right? Because you've got certain people that start out in one section versus another. And I think the law enforcement rooms are a good example of that, and having downstairs. So you've got all these multiple pieces. That's not one big floor with everybody just thrown in there and trying to get around, right? Some flow from one portion to the next, back and forth. And I think that helped a lot this show with like the fluidity of movement. I didn't run into a whole lot of like bottlenecks and traffic jams this show. And we didn't last show either, but we didn't last show because attendance and everything was down, right? This show, I mean, there was a lot of people walking around, but everything just seemed to flow.
Yeah, that was the great thing for me. Was, like I said, the vibe was back, which I enjoy the vibe. Now, I don't always enjoy the craziness of huge, crowds, but I always enjoy the vibe. and it was last year was great in so many ways from my point of view. Maybe not so much from the exhibitor's point of view because people weren't there, buyers weren't there, dealers weren't there, but there was no vibe either. So it was kind of like a weird, I don't know, it was just weird. This year was probably for me, probably my favorite SHOT Show. One, it was extremely productive. As far as the goals, we went about and did some things differently this year than we have done in years past, and had different goals, met all those goals with flying colors, did everything we wanted to do. Plus the vibe was really cool and all that. So, for those that have been there before, well, I actually want to bring in Chase and talk about this real quick. From the industry side, compared to last year, better, not as good. How was your feelings about SHOT in comparison to the last few years, especially last year for sure?
I would say, I mean, other than our problems notwithstanding, overall, this was a much better show than last year. The crowd was definitely up. The vibe was definitely up. It felt like a SHOT. You didn't have all the, different issues that people had with whatever last year, be it, mask or scared to travel or whatever. I mean, I know travel is still hard for some people this year because the just sheer cost of stuff has been rough. But overall, I mean, we had some really good, media engagements. We had really good meetings with people we needed to have meetings with. A little bit that I actually got to go out and look around. Like it was busy. It was a SHOT Show. It's what you expect it to be. The halls leaving, they were, full again. It's not like you could just like basically walk right through the Venetian or whatever and not have to worry about hitting anybody. But overall, I would call it probably one of the better shows I've ever attended.
That's awesome to hear from the industry side, because that hopefully means that dealers and the buy groups and all that and the gun shops and everyone that were there were interested in the products. And I guess it's hard for you to tell. You won't know for a few months what that means as far as sales. But like you said, kind of gauging off years past is pretty good. That's good to hear on the industry side, because that's kind of one of the reasons why I was glad that you're here. I was surprised you weren't asleep, but I wanted to kind of hear from the industry side, because I hear from all the media people and all of our friends that have been there for a few years that most people are saying it's one of, if not the best SHOT Shows they've been to. But I'm glad to hear that from the industry side as well, that it was a pretty productive and successful SHOT as well.
Yeah, and I talked to several guys throughout the industry. I mean, guys and women as well, through big operations, small operations, some other media guys. Like that's what they do, is like professional media handling, whatever.
Yeah,
and everybody, I would say 95% of the people I talked to, everybody was really positive on this show, which most people were not super positive going into the show, not knowing how this year was going to be.
Right.
But this, it puts kind of a more positive outlook on how 2023 is going to go.
I hope so. I think it might have been Chloe. I think you were there with me. I can't remember who was. I don't even remember what day it was. Like, that's the thing about SHOT. If you're doing it right, it all seems like one long ass day for a week. I don't remember what day it was and who else. I thought maybe Clover might have been there. It might have been someone else. But I was talking with this guy, and he was like, "How's SHOT going?" And we're talking. He goes, "Well, I actually work for NSSF, so I would like hear some feedback." And I was telling him what I thought about this, that, and the other. And he was like, "That's really, really great stuff. I'll make sure that people, we take it back to the meetings and all of that." So it was nice to see that maybe NSSF, although NSSF had some issues that I'm still not very happy with prior to SHOT Show, but they pulled it off, and it sounds like everyone had a good time. So maybe there's a recipe in there somehow that NSSF can maybe take down the road and make it this way. Where you're limiting people, I don't know how you do it, but it was a really good SHOT this year. I'm going to kind of go through the room real quick. I'm going to start with Chris and say, let's not talk about products yet. Let's just talk overall experience. What was the most exciting thing or the best thing that you had to do with SHOT this past week?
I mean, I guess my favorite part is anytime, same thing like when I went to Wanamaker. It's always great to see everybody in person,
Sure.
shake hands, give hugs, whatever. That's always kind of a highlight thing. I mean, for me, I just wanted to definitely make some connections while I was out there, and bust my ass to get a lot of those connections made. And I think that was probably my best part was, things that I got in the works now, talking with other companies and stuff that I met out there and I did interviews with. So, because it gives you more content for the channel, I like doing reviews and things like that. So, overall, I'm really happy with that part of it. That was kind of what I set out to do. And I think I got what I wanted. So, that was my favorite part of it, was just networking with these companies and showing them what I can do, on my channel and things like that. And going to hope for the best from here on out.
Well, once again, when I did see you, you were rocking last week. So I was really, not that any of us that know you, none of us had any doubts that you would rock it, but you did a great job. My best part with She Fires was meeting someone that's just barely shorter than I am. That was probably my highlight of the week.
Right.
We're just barely, but it's very rare when I get to tower over somebody in life. So that was my best part of Shot with Kelly was. It was great to see you. You rocked this week. You kicked some ass. But aside from products, we'll talk products here in a little bit. But what was like your best part of Shot that you enjoyed the most, or what was the best thing of Shot?
You all had mentioned before, and even in times past, that maybe being a content creator was kind of frowned upon, and even with certain types of media. But everyone was so welcoming, and even like some people were like, "Hey, you're with media. You want to come and talk to me?" And it was I was positively received, especially since a part of my message was I'm a new gun owner. I'm a woman. I want to be a positive example, and I want to share content with other folks who are in the same position that I am in, and your product will help. Or are you looking to gain more visibility with the type of audience? People look like me. So very well received with that kind of message. And I kind of changed it, being on GWeb and Clover Tax lives before, kind of changed it and altered it based upon who I was talking to, which is a tip that you all gave me. And that seemed to help. So it was a welcoming environment being new.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys kicked ass, man. And all three of the quote unquote rookies this year, Mike kicked ass as well. We got to spend, obviously he stayed with us. We got to spend some more time with Mike, kind of hearing his debrief at night and stuff like that. Mike, I'm going to go to you. Products aside right now, what was for you the highlight of Shot?
I heard Budget was also going around telling people he was a new female gun owner. Just saying.
Well, to be fair,
it is a brave new world.
It's 2023. I can identify however
I was going to say he can identify, not that there's anything wrong with this, but he can identify however he wants, and he can even be my latex salesman if he wants to be,
That's right.
It's gold, Budget. It's gold.
That's right.
No, speaking of Seinfeld, we did watch quite a bit of Seinfeld over the week.
We absolutely did. Yeah, that was amazing that we were actually in the house and I actually got to watch Seinfeld with other people who enjoy Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Hey, SHOT Show is like a never-ending Tuesday. It just doesn't have any feel.
It's kind of like Groundhog Day, isn't it? I mean, it's just it's ongoing. But yeah, Mike, let's go back to you. And what did you think of the highlight of Shot for you was?
My highlight for Shot was twofold. First, it was reaffirming the connections that I've already had with companies I've already worked for and people I've already worked with, and just kind of strengthening those bonds. It's always good to see a familiar face and shake a familiar hand. And the second part of that was meeting the new folks, people that I've never met before, like Chase, and the people from
quit kissing his ass, dude.
dude. I ain't got
Meeting
time
Jace
to
is a
kiss that
highlight.
ass.
Wow.
I'm a solid C-list celebrity. You shut your dirty mouth.
That's right. No, but you know, he was in fact one of the new people that I've met. So, you know, he's here. So why not use him as an example? But, you know, it's making those connections and reaffirming the connections that already exist. That was the highlight of Shot for me.
I'm going to bring in Chase and John as well, because John's been on, you know, kind of both sides of the aisle at Shot and Ram and different things. From the industry side, you know, I know what it's like for us to come home and say, okay, we need to start kind of finding the business cards and reaching out to the companies that we had great conversations with. Obviously, this is a part of Shot, so Shot continues on for a while. From the industry side, John and Chase, and Chase being at another show already, how far down the line does Shot kind of extend with the thousands, I'm assuming thousands of emails you're getting ready to get flooded with? I know it's a nasty and it's an ugly part of what happens is when you're working with a lot of people during a week and then you have 2 or 3 weeks or a month of emails coming in. How much of it is, do you really kind of get to move on, or are you always kind of in Shot mode for the next month because of the correspondence between different buyers and media and all of that? Is that still considered part of Shot, I guess?
Well, for me, back when I was working at the other company, it was we'd get back and we'd pile up our business cards and go through, okay, well, this goes to this guy because, you know, this is what his account looks like. Well, this is what we foresee. And you start passing around business cards. But it's a lot of going in and you're starting conversations with some of these buy groups at Shot and before Shot, and then going, okay, well, we'll give you show pricing at Shot instead of at the buy group show. And then you're going up and you're following, most of the time you're following up with them like a week later. So it's a lot of that. And then from the marketing and media side, you're just following up with these guys, or you have a card, and if you didn't write notes, you're going, okay, well, who is this person again? What did I talk to him about?
Right.
Like, you got to remind me, what did we talk about? Okay, cool.
So you bring up an interesting point that when you're with the other company, as a company, you guys on the marketing and media side got back and started having meetings about, you know, hey, there's a list of these cards. We know that we want to work with some of these people, and all of that. What about the people that you are meeting for the first time? Like from the industry side, I think it'd be interesting for us media, you know, how does that go when like you have a stack of cards that you met for the very first time and deciphering how you're going to choose which content creators or which media outlets or whatever that you want to work with? How does that kind of happen after Shot?
It comes down to a number of things. It really comes down to how did the conversation go? You know, you're also following up, like, let's just say it's Ghost, or, you know, it's you and you worked with Chase in the past. A lot of that is me going, hey, Chase, this is my first time meeting him. You know, how has it been working with him? Like, because there's a lot of people that'll blow smoke, and then you come to find out that what they promised and said doesn't align with what they're actually can do. So you're talking to other people and kind of feeling it out, or you just going, you know what, I'm willing to take a chance. Let's go. Let's talk. Let's get this going. This was a great conversation. And I've had it both ways where I thought somebody blew smoke and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to give them the chance. I think there's something here, and it's worked out great. And then other times it's been, hey, this is the deal we've worked out. Like, let's talk. And then they ghost you after they take the product and don't do anything. And then you mark that down.
I'm sorry, John. I apologize. John.
Yeah. Thanks, Chris.
I apologize.
You know, but yeah, that's really what it comes down to. It's things like that where it's small. And it sounds like this show is different than in years past where media is kind of be pushed off, and it kind of flows with the market right now. And I think a lot of companies are aligning with that. Hey, this media is not here to hurt us; they're here to help us. and kind of push things that you need pushed.
Yeah, it's one of those things from the media side. We always like to say that, we're here to help companies and all that, but it's true. I mean, I can see where uh, different creators or different groups or whatever are only out for a certain thing or whatever, and they'll use you until they get what they want, and then they're done with you, and that's sad because it makes everybody else look bad. But I think it's interesting what you just said is we talk about this a lot, but our industry in grand scheme of things is extremely small, and people jump back and forth between different companies left and right. It's just there's only so many companies out there. But you said that like if you're talking to a media person that you never worked with, but they've worked with a buddy of yours at another company, that you'll actually reach out to the other company and talk. I don't think that a lot of media people, I don't know why they don't understand this, but they don't understand sometimes that like everyone kind of knows everyone. And if you've done a company wrong over here, there's a good chance that company B, C, and D have probably heard about it or will hear about it.
Well, and I'll give you an example, and I'm not going to name names, but I had a person who was talking about, they're sponsored by Swamp Fox, and I know Tyler pretty decently now. So I
Yeah.
was like, Tyler, do you guys, oh
Tyler
yeah,
1 or Tyler 2?
yeah. I can't remember which one. One of them. But I was like, yeah, hey, did you send them some product? How's it been working with? Oh yeah, we send them product, blah blah blah. Later on down the line, they did something, and I called Tyler. I'm like, hey, this is what he did to me. Like, what did he do for you guys? He said he's sponsored by you, that you're paying him to do this stuff. And they're like, whoa, wait a minute, that's a lie.
Right? What? Yeah.
Yeah.
And what? We are?
Yeah, and that's one of those things where, and you'll see it with. You won't see it as much with bigger companies because they just write it off. But like smaller companies, like let's just say like a Cox Arms, who's a friend of mine, he got burned by this guy, and he's small, and that $1,200, $1,400, $1,900 gun, that's a lot for them.
Yeah.
And then now they have this taste in their mouth, like media's here to just get what they want and leave, and that's one of the things that people have to learn. Like, we all talk, and you guys have been in circles where it's been like, hey, do you know this so and so? And then it's like, well, that person did this. Okay,
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Bringing Chase real quick, and kind of the same thing. As far as the media is concerned, how do you guys kind of go about deciding whether or not you going through your stack of cards, or you get the 100,000 emails from people that you met last week? Kind of how do you decipher through those and figure out, is it literally they have to make an impression on you when you meet them, or how do you figure out who you might want to align with and work with throughout the year?
I mean, a lot of it, like initially, somebody I've never met before, if you got impressions, a big thing, it goes a long way.
Sure.
How somebody interacts initially, that type of thing. Like exactly what John was saying, like the industry is big, but it's small, and we all talk. Like we all talk. A perfect example of that is I was literally doing that today. Like I was running some guys I know today who people had, approached them at SHOT, and they're like, hey, what do you know about this guy? What do you know about this guy? Is this worth doing? Is this worth doing? I won't name names. There's a creator that came up to another company, was like demanding $2,500 a post because his reach is so huge.
I wonder who that could be.
A post, not a video, per post.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, that's nuts. That's nuts. So, it is interesting to know that, and for people out there there's a lot of people out there in the chat, or maybe listen to this, they're talking about maybe starting a channel or getting to SHOT Show, and understand that when we talk about industry, industry includes the media, includes the consumers, it includes the buy groups and everything else, the gun shops. This whole industry includes everyone, and it's a very closely knit, pretty much spiderweb entwined industry that, you do something, sometimes you have to pay the piper, and you might have to earn your way back into that inner circle with different people. So be cognizant of that. I do want to bring in G real quick. G's been going for, 17, 18, 19 different SHOT shows. And I know we were on your chat last night, and you had mentioned, how you thought about it, but I kind of wanted you to bring you in, and in comparison to previous years and all of that, with everything that happened this past week, where does this SHOT Show kind of stick out in your mind? Is it just another SHOT Show, or was it one of the better ones, or one of the worst ones, or what was your feeling after been to so many of them?
So yeah, it's definitely one of the better ones. I think that it's hard to say the second one can be the better one, right? Like, because in a lot of ways, last year had to be the one that was better, the best one in a while to like change the direction and everything. But there was fewer people, and like you guys already all had said, it's everyone got more comfortable this year, and more people showed up, and there was more reunions and stuff. So this year was better, but in this new direction. And in 2008, there was a similar like kind of, I don't know what it was back then, but I really liked 2008 also. So what I'm going to say, I think, because I knew you were coming to this question, I was thinking about it earlier. I think the big difference this year to me was the way that everything, like if you talk about all those realms you just talked about, the industry and the media and the show itself, like the people that support or the people that promote the show, like just everything kind of came together well, and it was a good year for everything. Like we weren't under a massive political pressure. We aren't in a lot of fear. We have all these new gun owners, and they're not brand new. Like they're now a couple of years into it, and they're expanding their interests, and they're at SHOT, right? So there's, new people that are exploring more than they're getting their next carry gun, or they're getting into other things besides carry guns. And they're not coming from a very narrow experience, right? Because a lot of us, I think, in old SHOT shows, where our influence was our parents, and their influence was whatever, cowboy movies or World War II or movies of the 80s. Generally it was a fairly narrow interest range. It was really military law enforcement type of stuff that we were interested in. Now people are interested in all kinds of things, competition, hunting, and there's, the calibers and the, like, I don't know what you call like platforms anymore. Like, it used to be the AR was all we had, and it was, what are they going to do to an AR? What are they going to do to a Glock? Well, now it's like SIGs and these 9mm things, and there's so many different routes that people are interested in that it's just, everything was, there wasn't a lot of tension, and there was a lot of growth and development, and it wasn't in reaction. It was a lot of intentional development and a lot of acceptance. So I think that's the part that was great about it. Was just such a fun year to experience it all, and it wasn't.
It was,
and there was time to experience it all.
It was nice to see people. It was nice to see a lot of people. Most people were smiling and seemed like they were happy. A lot of times it SHOT, people like, for different reasons, but like the vibe was mostly really, really good. I think
there's a cycle of media where it went from, there was no media at SHOT really for a long time, and then there was media, and then it was like the TV channels, the cable TV channels were the big thing before there was fast internet. TV channels, like you'd want Michael Bain to come up to your booth or something, and I don't know if you paid for that or what, but there was very few opportunities for your stuff at SHOT Show to get out to more than just the human beings in the room. And then the internet changed that, and it, like you guys kind of talked about, there was a time when everyone had unrealistic expectations of the results of social or the results of what the internet could do for people. And now that's calmed, and what's the word? Like it's become open source in a lot of ways, and it's become decentralized in a lot of ways. So now companies know that they can work with lots of individuals instead of having to spend all their money on one giant individual or one giant organization. And it's really changed the field, and it's a lot less stress and a lot less pressure, right? I think it was it's a really good way to, and it's a good direction. It's an indication that the industry's going in a good direction. So I thought that was a great show for that.
I'm going to throw this out to the room, and you guys just, don't talk over everybody, but jump in there. Any negatives that you can remember of thinking at SHOT like this? I wish this was done better. For me, I'm going to go ahead and start this.
I don't know, and I'd love to talk to someone in NSSF. I don't know, for some reason, the last couple of years, the media room has almost gone neglected as far as, I'm not saying that we deserve certain things, but we're used to having like drinks and water available at any given time. And now it was like for breakfast and maybe for like 15 minutes during the lunchtime area, which I didn't go up there during lunch. I thought that maybe NSF could maybe do something better to, I don't know, make the media room more welcoming. I don't know, but as far as, go ahead.
We did get the water bottles. We did figure that out.
No, those are pretty cool water bottles. I'll give them that.
So
but,
at least that's something, right?
Sure.
But I mean, they didn't tell anybody that was available. I just found that out at random.
Right.
No,
yeah.
There's a lot of potential. If we're talking the negatives, there's a lot of potential with the media because they've done different things in the past. They're not rigid. They're only not doing it because no one's brought it up to them. So there's definitely potential for what they could do with and for the media.
Yeah. But in general out there, anybody out there.
The app didn't work between rooms. And that seemed to frustrate a lot of people, right? You couldn't navigate from one room to another.
Yeah, for some reason that wasn't available this year. I mean, the app, as far as keeping the list, was great, but typically in years past, you were able to almost map a route from where you were to the next booth, and they didn't have that this year, or at least it didn't work for me. So it's nice to hear that it wasn't maybe just me, because I was like, I even asked Clover, I was like, why in the hell are we not able to like get the route to this anymore? But I don't know.
You could do that on the same floor. Like if you were in Venetian 1 down in the basement, you could map your way from point A to point B all the way across that. But if you had to go up to level 2 or 3 or 4 or over to Caesars, then no, it wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
The app sucked in general, and then service was just terrible this year. Like it was worse than it has been.
Well, that's interesting to hear from the industry side as far as service from the NSSF, or what are you talking about?
I'm talking like as far as like your phone, like anything like electronic working in there.
Yeah.
Like where we were at, on main floor Venetian, like you'd have full 5G, but you could text, you could call, but you couldn't do anything else unless you got on somebody's paid Wi-Fi, basically.
Yeah, we were getting texts that would show up an hour later,
100%,
or not at all.
Yep.
It was too windy at range day.
It was too windy at range day. Yeah, the weather at range day was crappy.
Yeah, they really got to do a better job on like controlling the weather at range day.
Yeah, build a dome or something. Come on, guys, what are we doing here?
I mean, we throw this other shit together. We pay for. Y'all can at least put a windbreak up, something.
or yeah, man, it was crazy. That was just crazy.
Did you see all the stories about range day though this year?
No, I didn't see a lot of it. What's going on?
So they said this was the most attended range day in history.
There's no way in hell that's the truth. No way.
Cool. All right,
they said they had over 3,400 people come through range day.
There is no way that's true.
And I was like,
maybe they got there and they just left because it was so windy.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. They got there and then right about lunchtime it started monsooning rain. They're like, yeah, we're out. Bye.
Yeah. So what if they took that hill, right? And there's no reason for that hill really because it goes up and then back down again. So you just cut a big tunnel, like a tunnel into that hill, so you don't have to go up and down anymore. And now you also have a place that's indoors if it gets windy again.
There you go.
I
tell you what,
lightning and hailing, you got somewhere to go.
I will say this: we were eating lunch, and right about the time it started raining and the wind was just absurd. The little circus tents they set up to eat with the tables and all that, whoever set those up were awesome because those tents were in no danger of flying away, which is pretty crazy.
No kidding.
I think it's good though every once in a while to have some weather because for a long time it's been fairly calm, and I don't know, it's just everybody better off when we.
I remember 2019 was incredibly windy and cold. It wasn't rainy; it was just incredibly windy and cold. But last couple we've had nice weather. So aside from the weather at range day, just throwing out there to anybody, kind of what are some of maybe the disappointments or the low parts of what you had at SHOT Show this week?
I wanted to shoot a 30 super carry and I didn't find one or forgot to.
I love it. I'm gonna say companies that email blasted and teased and then didn't bring what they email blasted or teased about. Like, what's up with that?
What do you mean?
So I knew that one of the products I was interested in seeing was that zinc bullpup revolver. Now we had heard that there was going to be a prototype there. That prototype
That was a stretch.
was, to say the least, that was a stretch. I probably could have done better just cutting some wax out because it was bad. It was bad, really bad.
I think G-Webs is currently printing those same prototypes, and they're for sale, I think, on gun websites.
I guarantee it.
They should have made the file available. That would be interesting.
Like, holy moly, those were hokey. Those they had one, and it was like hokey at best. But yeah.
And they didn't have anyone from the company there. It was like a couple people that were hired to be there that had no idea. Like, you couldn't ask them any questions. They had like their little spiel to read off. But if you deviated from that and asked them a question, like, I have no idea. Like,
Snob got to talk to some guy, he said.
Oh, they weren't there when I was there for sure.
Right.
There was an old guy and a young guy there.
Were they speaking English though?
Somewhat.
I would say
you're asking Snob. He doesn't speak English. Let's just be honest.
There was nobody, though. You couldn't shoot that 9mm lever gun that everybody was interested in.
Yep.
Clover shot the Henry. He said that was a pretty good highlight.
Yeah, that never was even
Henry
teased.
was nice.
That was a total surprise.
Yeah,
that one broke Pink's hand. He broke his hand.
He did break his hand. That was shooting at 22 though.
No, he said he was shooting at 410.
The Rock Island 5.0 failed on me. That was one of the guns
did
I
it
was
really?
most excited to shoot, and I'm like, I only had 5 rounds, and I got 2. Then had to rechamber a round, so I only got to shoot 4 rounds out of it. Like, oh man, come on!
How quickly did you get to shoot that one during the day?
It was late in the day, so
that might have been why. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I gave him the benefit of the doubt, but it was me, Nick from Milsurp Duo, his dad, and Chris. We all shot it. And we all had a failure to feed on it.
Wow.
What was that? What caliber is it?
9mm.
Oh, okay. So what's?
Yeah, I don't understand why they call it the 5.0 when it's 9mm. You know, it's just you figure what's
just a big double stack 9mm 1911 then.
It's. I don't even know how to explain it. It's kind of like a cross between a CZ and...
Yeah, it's CZ-ish looking for sure. Yeah.
Not a fixed barrel.
Okay, I didn't know. I thought it was 1911. It's not a 1911.
Yeah, it's got a fixed square barrel.
Yeah, that was
it's odd. That one. Okay, it's that one. Okay.
Yeah. She-Fires bring you in. Oh, what's that?
It's the Mustang at the gun world.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah. The square box, yeah. That's what it is. She-Fires bring you in. Anything that sticks out in your mind that was disappointing about SHOT? The whole experience of SHOT.
I got a little bit lost. The app did help. The map kind of helped, but especially down in the basement when the numbers, like you're looking at the floor and then you're looking up at the ceiling. Sometimes it just kind of threw me off where I was going. So I missed an appointment one day because I couldn't find it. And then the app only identified one booth for one of the vendors, and there were 3. So I kind of had to move about. Yeah, that was a little bit tricky. So, and I think that just happens. Yeah,
the numbering system that they have. Sometimes a numbering system can go in both directions. So you're like, wait, what? What could yeah? Getting lost is kind of a rite of passage. SHOT is getting lost. It happens. I've been going for for a little bit now, and Clover and I came out. I think we came from downstairs upstairs, and even we got turned around like, wait a second, where are we? Like we had to find our bearings for a second, you know.
Yeah, we were going to go from downstairs to Caesars.
Yeah.
And we decided instead of trying to go up the escalator and do all it, we're going to hit Meteor Row or whatever and go around. And yeah, we went Meteor Row curves, and that totally screwed us up.
Matter of fact, we even looked around and we looked like a bunch of news. We don't even know where the hell we're going. You know?
Right.
You look like me.
Right. It took a minute. We figured it out, but it took a minute.
Now, getting
I
lost
only
in SHOT
found the
Show
bridge.
is a real thing. What's that now?
I only found the bridge because one of the information guys there at Media Row looked at me and he's like, dude, you are so lost. He's like, you're looking for the bridge, aren't you? And I'm like, yeah, how could you tell? By the lost look on my face, he said, exactly. Go straight that way and you can't miss it.
How bad does it have to be when the information guy can tell that you're lost just by the look on your face?
Oh,
That's
Didn't
hilarious.
they say they were going
it
to
was
put a
pretty bad.
yellow line down the road to find the bear garden?
They should. They
Oh,
should.
that's
That
a
would
great
be
idea.
wonderful.
But I don't
Yeah.
know why they don't do a good job of navigating. Back in the day, all the knife stuff used to be out front, like between Radio Row and like basically where Glock and like those big booths are. Like they used to have all the knives there. Now they've scattered them all over.
Yeah, they even if they don't put like
That
the yellow
would've been
brick
cool.
road, at least they maybe put a sign up on the rafters every now and then. Hey, Caesar's this way or whatever. Beer garden this way.
They were the signage was so similar that unless you were.
Oh, I didn't even. That wasn't really looking, but I never saw a sign that stuck out that kind of said Caesar's this way. Maybe I wasn't looking, but
Well, it didn't necessarily say Caesar's. It would just say Hall 3 or whatever.
right, sure.
I'll tell you what
Snob,
was
bring you in.
disappointing
What's that?
I know what was disappointing to me, that the Venetian did not install people movers like at the airport this year, just to help get you around when you're trying to go somewhere. It was ridiculous having to walk like a peasant.
Yeah, they could have those things going down the hallway. I don't know why they wouldn't have put those in right away. Like they could totally put those in.
I was a little disappointed they didn't have a bunch of scooters waiting for everybody. It'd been nice to have.
They did. You could buy them from town.
Oh, I know. Trust me. I got my toes run over a couple times by scooters that really did not care about anybody else in their way. I was like, come on, man.
By Friday about noon, I was ready to go rent one. My feet were done.
So that's an interesting thing because this was the first. Let's talk about like walking. My app and all that said that I averaged 11.4 miles per day, which is about average. Anywhere from 10 to 12 miles a day is what I've always averaged in years past. But for some reason this year, I don't know, maybe they didn't have padding down. My feet hurt more this year than they ever have before. Everybody else have that issue, or is it just me?
My
My feet
body
freaking
hurt.
still hurt.
Mine were better actually. After
You
after
got
the first
new
day.
shoes.
Yeah,
you had
with new shoes, they were better. It's crazy, but it was.
with your Dorsey Ruby slippers,
That's true. This is true.
I actually took 3 pairs of shoes this year and rotated them between them each day, and that was the best thing ever.
Well, I rotated shoes every day. I had 2 pairs of shoes that I went day 1, day 2, day 3. They're same pair of shoes, but I did rotate them, and it wasn't like that I had blisters or anything. It was just I was more sore. Maybe because I'm getting old and fat and all that, but I hurt more this year than I have in years past. My wife says I should have taken my Hokas, and I probably should have taken my Hokas. I probably will next year, but yeah. Clover go ahead.
I was gonna say I was wearing like some of the most comfortable shoes you can possibly wear, and I don't know what it is about this year. Like my feet hurt worse than any of these other shows I've done in a long time.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I really don't.
It's like in weird spots too. It's not like what you would normally think. It's not like there's, like I said, there's no bruises, there's no blisters, none of that. It's like it just hurts.
Yeah. I don't know if they didn't put padding down that they normally put down. I mean, I don't know. It was just very, very strange. But my feet hurt a lot more. Clove, was there any downsides to SHOT this year that you can kind of stick out in your head?
The show itself.
Yeah, not products, but like the show itself. Was there anything that sticks out in your mind as I wish I would have done this better, or any disappointments at all?
No, I mean I don't think of anything that sticks out. Majorly anyway that sticks
right.
out. I can't think of I can't think of anything. I mean, quite honestly, the layout. I mean, if you were used to going, the layout was similar. We got used to no water last year, basically. So, even that, I mean, that would be a bad thing. But, I don't know. Yeah, I can't come up with anything. Not anything worthy of saying, "Oh, this was horrible."
Right. Let's go back to Mike. I want to kind of bring you in. Let's talk products now. Obviously, there's products that you were looking forward to seeing, but were there products that you saw that you didn't know existed that kind of stuck out in a good way? Like, what was one of the highlights of the products that you saw for the first time this last week?
Two things: one gun related, one not. One that is really cool, and one that's just tickled my funny bone. First is Olympus Arms has a recoil operated AR-10, and I shot that at range day, and it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I shot that as well.
You know, no gas whatsoever, just totally recoil operated. I thought that was great. And then there's the Insta Privy portable toilet thing. It just tickled my funny bone, and I had to have one. So, dude sent me home with one to do some videos on. I'm gonna.
If you're not sure what it is, be on the standby the next few weeks from his channel. The only thing that I wish you would have done is pulled it out and that sounds really bad. Utilize that thing in a condo. I think that would have been really hilarious.
I should have.
Did you use it on the plane ride home?
No, but I if it had,
that would have been great.
If it hadn't been in my checked baggage, I might have, because there was a couple times I really had to go on that ride. But
yeah, yeah, I hear you. She Fires, product wise, what was kind of the highlights of some of the stuff that you saw?
Well, thanks to Chase, I shot my first 10 millimeter. So that's
okay.
Highlight.
So how was it? How was it?
Yeah, baby. The master caliber.
Welcome to the dark side.
It was, I mean, especially for me, it was good. And you know, Chase complimented me too. I shot it pretty well. It wasn't bad at all. So
do you see yourself getting into the 10 millimeter game down the road here pretty soon?
I mean, anything's possible, but you know, I would own one at least. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Like when you anticipated shooting the 10 millimeter versus the reality of shooting the 10 millimeter, how was the difference there?
You know, I try not to make a big deal about it, because I know that was something. And it was so cold. I was just like, just give me the thing and let me shoot it. So I didn't have that anxiety, because I was like, I want to shoot it because it's here and I want it in my hand. And then, you know, move on to the next firearm. So
to be
that's
honest,
the kind of way I approached it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to be honest and to be fair, shooting the Witness 2311 as your first 10 millimeter is going to kind of spoil you, because not all of 10 millimeters shoot like that. So that's a pretty amazing.
Well, it was a good time. It was a good time.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I 100% shamelessly use her as an example for all these guys that were coming up going, I don't know if I want to shoot this. I'm like,
she shot.
Clover had to wear wrist brace. I'm just saying. Clover had to wear wrist brace, so Kelly did not.
Barely 5 feet tall, and I did it.
That was a pink one. It was pretty.
If you're Kelly, no offense, if you're 5 feet tall, then I'm 6 feet tall.
I'm not.
I know exactly. Yeah.
It's like my wife saying 5'1". We know they're lying.
It's, you know, whatever my driver's license says is what it is.
So from the female shooters / even female kind of new to firearms, were there any products that you didn't know existed that, like, holy cow, like, where has this been? Like, I'm glad I saw this.
You know, I've tried to look in some magazines and on YouTube of some things that were coming around, and watching what you guys are posting online. When I shot the Taurus, the TX22, had the Raging Hunter down the way, I did not shoot it because it was like a long line for people to shoot it. But you know, I would try that in the future.
Oh, you're talking about the long one that had the compensator and blah blah blah.
The Raging Hunter, the Taurus Raging Hunter.
Yeah, that.
It looked intimidating.
It's
so
awesome.
I wanted to try
it is awesome, and with that, with the brake or the compensator on the end, it was not bad at all. But
Yeah.
oh man, this 460 Smith & Wesson's awesome anyway. But yeah,
I thought it shot like a mild 357 with that brake on there.
I know, right? Yeah.
I love the compensator anyway, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. And I stopped by the Canic booth
Sure, yeah.
and saw the new one. So hope to shoot that in the future. And that's all that kind of stands out. I tried to stay in my lane. I didn't want to completely overwhelm myself. I am focused on like 9mm type firearms just because of my audience. But yeah, I saw some cool stuff.
And it's God's caliber, so is what it is. I know
Right.
G was getting ready to throw up a little bit, but it's okay. It's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I get rashes when people talk about like lever action and shotguns. G-Webs gets a rash when people start talking about 9mm, but I think he's over it now. I think he just lives with calamine lotion, so it's all good. Bring in Chris. Chris, for you, was there something that kind of stood out and said, "Wow, I'm glad I got to see that because I didn't know it existed," or something that really impressed you this week?
There was 5. I'll rip through them real quick. My favorite gun.
Oh snap! Here we go.
The MP5s that the clones, whatever you want to call them, that Zenith is making.
Zenith?
That was my number
Absolutely,
one.
it was awesome.
Number 2 would be the Witness 10mm Hunter with the 6-inch barrel. Number 3 would be the Rock Island 5.0. Even though it failed, that thing shoots so flat. I got to get one.
Well, how would you know? You only got 2 of them that actually cycled for you.
Yeah, I could just tell.
I know, I'm just joking.
Number 4 would be the Raging Hunter 460. I definitely want that one. And my 5th favorite thing was Rise Armament's got a new AR trigger coming out that was absolutely amazing. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's my
now
5.
from your competitive shooting side of things. Was there anything there with maybe like gear setup or holsters or belts or anything that you saw that you think could help you in your competitive shooting side of life?
Yeah, I've been wanting to build a new PCC this winter, but after going over to Live Free Armory, they got that new 9mm PCC
yeah,
coming
that's pretty
out.
Sweet.
Depending on how ambi I can make it, that's definitely something I got my eye on too.
Are you a wrong-handed shooter?
Yes, I am.
Have you ever tried just being correct-handed?
Yeah, I have to a lot in competition, but that doesn't mean I like it.
I hear you. Snob, product-wise, anything that kind of stood out in your mind that kind of separated itself from other things?
I'm going to steal Clover's thunder.
Okay.
Henry Homesteader. I was very surprised by that and enjoyed it very much.
What?
The Henry
Homesteader.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And then the Spando arms, which is imported by SDS, their over and unders were very nice. That color case hardened. Oh, it was nice. It shot really well too. And then,
there's no FUD talk a lot on this show. I'm sorry.
I was really trying to hurt Clover's food.
Yeah, you're stealing everything he had planned for sure.
I know. And then my buddies from Live Free brought out the Apollo 11, and see, I knew they were gonna build that, but we didn't know till Saturday that they actually got it done.
Right
before the show, so we were all pretty surprised when we walked in and they had them tore all apart on their kitchen table.
Yep. Gee, anything when you were walking around that was kind of memorable that kind of sticks out in your mind throughout the week?
Yeah, I actually videoed quite a bit of stuff, so I'm trying to think here. I finally met up with the Blue Line Bears people, so I'm gonna start with that.
Awesome people.
The rundown on how the bears are made.
I wish the daughter was there. She wasn't able to make it this year. She's awesome, but yeah, those people are phenomenal people.
Yep.
And then, well, personally for me, the one thing I wanted to see was, are they standard in the back corner where you could get the ramp to go up to the beer garden? They had that. It's like a 22 NAA looking revolver that had a flip up grip.
Yeah, standard manufacturing.
Is that standard? I couldn't get the guy to talk to me about it for whatever reason, but there was some drones that were pretty awesome, and trying to think some more. There was actually quite a few things that I discovered this year that weren't necessarily new, but were new to me that I thought were pretty neat.
That's awesome. Clove, now that Snob's taken pretty much every one of your answers, is
I'm
there
okay
anything
with that.
else that kind of stands
I'm
out?
okay. I'm okay with that because here's the thing: there was something that I got to see, and you did as well, that nobody else even got to see. That will be
You
made
can't talk
public.
about that.
It
Can't
will
talk
be
about
made.
that.
I can't talk about it, but I can say it's freaking amazing. It's awesome.
It
It's
is
beautiful.
amazing.
And here around NRA show, hopefully the public will get to see it. So since Snob stole my answer, I will say that.
Yeah.
And then as far as the
And on
non-firearm,
top of that, it's going to piss off a particular firearm company even more, which is great.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
Just
And-
remember, some companies don't even bring what they say they are, and others have all kinds of tricks up their sleeves.
This is true. I said
This
that
is
earlier
true.
about that was a downer for me, was the companies that didn't bring stuff. And that's right. There are some companies there that bring stuff that they don't even show, but just a few select people because they can't be released to the public yet. But you know, that on the firearm side, be waiting for that because everybody will get to see what that is later on. But on the non-firearm side, I'm still impressed by that USB battery charger, phone charger brick.
The magazine looking thing.
That looks like a PMag. That is freaking awesome.
It literally looks like a PMag, and I can't wait because I'm going to get one. I can't wait to travel through an airport and go through TSA and then freak out when I see this PMag that's actually a battery charger. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You found that, and I was looking down at it at first. I was like, what's it doing? I was like, oh my God, that is awesome.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
I didn't get to see it in person, but I saw like everybody talking about it in the reviews and the post on it. I'm like, where has this been? I need one of these.
Talk
like,
about the
battery
basement,
life
man.
is
You know,
ridiculous on it.
Oh, it was crazy, and it's just really, really cool. It was really, really cool.
Ghost,
can't wait.
You do not want to try that because I accidentally did that with a USB stick from Canik that was shaped like a gun. I got stopped and frisked and everything. Yeah, it was fun. Great time at the Phoenix airport.
Yeah. So we all have that to look forward to, I guess, huh?
Yeah, at NRA, if you want to know how much fun that can be, ask Keith how much fun it was going through TSA with a choke tube.
Oh, and try to explain to someone at TSA what that is. Must have been hilarious to see.
Well, like one of them realized it was a gun part, and that started the whole fiasco.
But they didn't understand what it was, obviously.
No, of course not.
Yeah. For me,
I got one.
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, G.
I know I was thinking of something that blew my mind, and it was that Hollow Sun thermal and IR.
Yeah, man. So Chase got to be right next to Hollosun in their booth, and I'll tell you what. I'll say this about it. One, I was really disappointed with Hollosun. Two, yeah, the idea of a night vision or a thermal sub $2,000 optic is pretty awesome. Now, the disappointing thing about that is they kept running an ad with 2Lam, and 2Lam, I've been able to talk with them a few different times, and 2's kind of a legend in the military side of things, and with Ronin Tactics is big into the teaching and all that. They kept running this commercial with 2 the whole time, and I never once saw 2 in their booth, which is kind of, I know he was there, but I never saw him there, so it's kind of disappointing.
But you know what you got to do? You have to put a Hollow Sun on top of a katana, and then he just appears. That's what it is.
You know, that was, you know, you and I had the discussion. It's like, I don't understand why it was for a visual effect and being Hollywood. But yeah, they did have him kind of pulling his katana out of its sheath and then putting it back in. It would have been really cool if they had like a night vision on the katana. It would have been really cool just to have. But yeah, that's pretty cool. For me, a couple things that stood out that were surprising, and one is kind of innovative that I think is going to be really, really cool, especially maybe Chris might need to check this out for competition shooting, because I'm assuming it'll be fine this year, but as soon as they start seeing them, you know as well as I do, Chris, USPSA and IDPA, they're gonna make a rule against it, because it is what it is. But I'll tell you about that in a second. The first one, our friends over at Anderson, and yes, the Poverty Pony came out with, be actually out in about April or so, a bolt action rifle. Now, they've been making the bolt actions for a lot of different companies over the years, but they decided to make their own rifle. and it's going to be amazing. It's a pretty cool. It's going to be a really awesome. They did it for PRS, so it was kind of based on a PRS setup where it's going to be more a little lightweight and all of that stuff. But it's going to be a really cool bolt action rifle. Friends over at Bergara, PRS changed the production level price from $2,000 to $2,500. Bergara, which I shoot in matches, they came out with a new production line collab with Masterpiece Arms with their chassis, which Masterpiece make great chassis, but it comes in just under 20, like $2,490. Go figure. I wonder how that happens. It was a sexy looking rifle. And then a friend of ours we met, it's a really, really cool thing. So he's part of the company is under the Hyperion umbrella. He's a SEAL team guy. He made this trigger for ARs. It's not a trigger, it's a trigger guard, but it's got an internal screw that, you know, you pull the trigger and you let it go to reset or whatever. When it gets to reset, you can kind of tighten the screw down. And from that point on, that's as far as the trigger ever goes. So you're basically shooting from reset every single time you pull a trigger. Once again, I think it's amazing. It feels great. I think it's going to be awesome for competition shooters until they decided to make a rule against that. I'm sure they will, but you basically pull a trigger, you go to reset, and then you tighten the screw down, and literally every trigger pull is from reset. It's pretty amazing stuff. So those are my three that I really enjoyed that were kind of out of the box and things that I weren't expecting to see for that. Let's kind of go through the room real quick. Did anybody besides myself kind of track how much you walked this week?
My watch was saying 9 to 10 miles a day.
Yep. I would say 10 miles is probably the average for most, I would say. But yeah, it's about right. Does it feel like you walk that many miles a day?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm big and fat. Yeah, I heard every night.
Anybody else going to track it?
47.64 miles for the week.
There you go. Yeah.
That sounds like an average. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing from other people too. Unfortunately, I didn't have a way to track mine, but it felt like it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that 40 to 50 miles, you know, is probably, you know, about right. That 10 miles a day, roughly, you know, 10 to 12 miles a day is about right. If you're actually doing stuff, there are people that are there to take selfies with people and to be seen and hang out in the media room all day, and that's cool. That's their choice. They can do shot however they want. But yeah, if you're actually there working, that's that 10 to 12 miles a day is probably pretty average. I know Mike came home with the crud. Anybody else come home with the crud or know people that came home with the crud?
I heard Gizzard did.
I heard Gizzard's got COVID, actually.
He looked rough in the picture. He
did
out
look
where
rough.
He landed. He looked rough.
Yeah, he did.
We probably all did after shot, but
yeah, I came back with something towards the end of the trip, but just a cold.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I hear Rogue's pretty much been in bed.
Yeah. I heard Rogue's been in bed for a few days, which is ironic because like Clover and I didn't really get sick. We got congestion, but I wonder if that's because you guys rode together every day. Maybe you guys got each other sick. I don't know.
That could be.
Yeah, mine is pretty much, with the exception of the year that COVID hit, 2020. I nearly died on the way home that time, and I swear to this day that was right as COVID was starting to seep in to and SHOT Show. We know all the foreigners and everybody from all four corners of the globe and everything is there. So
yeah, that was literally like 6 weeks away from the actual pandemic.
Yeah.
Like
so
nobody tell Clover there's not corners on the globe.
Aside from that, okay.
He's a flat earther, man. He's a flat earther. Come on.
But the map is flat.
But other than that, every trip, and we drive, so it's this way. I mean, as you head west, the altitude changes, the type of stuff in the air, pollens and dust and things.
Or just going from humid to dry.
Right.
You know?
The amount of moisture in the air, like all of that stuff changes dramatically as you get further west and then as you come back home. So, by the time that we got to Vegas, and of course we got in early Saturday morning and immediately grabbed some like Dayquil and some other stuff. And, by the time the show started, I pretty much had that knocked out. But it was the same way. I was fine when we left shot, and it was 3 days coming home or whatever. And I just progressively got worse and worse and worse as far as like a cold and congestion and head cold and that sort of stuff, coming back home. And so, but in the next 2 or 3 days, my body will regulate or whatever you want to call it, right? And I'll be fine. But yeah, it's miserable when you can't breathe. I will say that, but it's not anything that's going to kill me.
I heard a number.
Problem.
Go ahead.
I think some of the three of our problem though is we were all day at range day together, and we all got wet, and we all got the wind. And I mean, like we didn't get sick, but like we all had that little bit of that sinus crud, a little bit.
Absolutely.
Congestion. But like me, I don't know about y'all, but like I was so hoarse at the end of that show. Like I've never been hoarse like that.
I wasn't hoarse. I know Clover was. I actually didn't lose my voice, thank goodness. So I got lucky on that.
Well, I contend that the hoarseness for me was the party Wednesday night. Because, I mean, I was out on the patio. It was kind of cold. There was a little bit of wind, and you had to yell to talk to anybody. And, of course, we were all a little tipsy, so we were yelling anyway. But I think that had a little something to do with it.
It might have. I was outside Monday night at the Leather Night game, Wednesday night at the Marine Party. And yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's a desert. It gets cold at night. So that probably didn't help anything at all. Speaking of parties, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Matt was talking all day, and then the dinners at night. You got you got a bunch of people together, and the restaurants are loud, so everybody's having to talk loud. It wrecks your voice.
And you got to almost play host to a certain extent. So you kind of have to drive. You and Keith were kind of driving the conversations in those dinners too. So that probably didn't help.
So that's the thing is like for 3 nights in a row, like I got invited to 8 different parties. I didn't go to any of them this year. That tells you how just warm.
Well, hell, you didn't get done eating until at least like 11:30 every night.
I know. As much as I wanted to go do stuff this year, I just absolutely couldn't because we had so much going on.
Yeah, you were sitting in Texas. We were hoping to meet up with you a couple different nights. Like, dude, I just got my dinner and it's like 10:30. Like, you just now getting your food. So that's the thing. So
rough. I was not a happy camper that night.
Speaking of dinners and parties and all of that, for everyone that kind of went to different ones, was there a party or a dinner that stood out as fun? Maybe it was your first time going there or whatever that you wish maybe you'll go back to later on?
Guns.com was pretty off the hook.
Guns.com was pretty good. Yeah, it really was.
The company there was good though too, I must say. I mean, they took care of everybody, open bar, hors d'oeuvres all over the place.
Not that I remember much of it, but yeah.
They had a caricature drawing guy there. They had
a scavenger hunt.
They had a T-shirt artist where you could make your own T-shirt.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a wet T-shirt contest. So
no. They did have dancing girls. He was
the only participant in the wet T-shirt contest.
This is true. But yeah, the company was really good. I mean, Charlie was there. Obviously, Matt would meet the pressers. Mark
was there.
Had quite a few people there we knew and hung out and had great conversation and just had a great time. And it was in a great venue. I mean, I think, and they went all out. And I mean, it was probably the nicest, what you could call a party anyway.
Sure.
We've been to some good stuff that I would call like a lounge type thing, right? Like you didn't really have loud music and anything like that.
Yeah, Brownells was pretty cool last year, whenever that was, because you could have conversations. This was more like let's just have some fun. Yeah. We're gonna have a DJ. Let's just have fun. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Totally. So.
Yeah. For Chris and Sheep Fires and Budget, did y'all partake in any of the nightly festivities this year, or were you just trying to get back to the hotel and kind of recover?
I didn't take part in any of it. I did go to that lunch, and we went and drank for a while with Tandem Cross. That was a good time.
Yeah. Day drinking's always fun. Just saying.
You're in Vegas, I know, right? No, I didn't. I was planning to go to the guns.com, but then got the cooties, so I couldn't. I did go to Hell's Kitchen for dinner. It was okay. For as much money as you spend, I don't know, maybe I'm just a regular kind of gal. I don't even think fancy. I like my plates to be full, not like in the center,
Yeah, I get it.
but it was an experience.
Yeah, Chase and I had plans on going to Hell's Kitchen Monday night, but SHOT Show took over, so in a lot of different ways. Budget, I know that you went to guns.com for a little bit, but what did you think of the after SHOT stuff?
It was cool. The guns.com thing was off the hook for sure. I liked what bit that we were able to get to of the FPC thing.
Yep.
By
make it to FPC.
By the way, G, don't know if I specifically said it, but thanks for the introductions you made. Because thanks to G Webs, I talked to some people I normally wouldn't have spoken with, and it was good, productive conversations both times. So thank you, sir, for that, for sure.
That's what SHOT's about right there. Is the
parties.
networking.
Yeah, the parties and stuff for sure. That's what it's out about.
Yep. G actually came over Monday night to the Leatherneck Club. It was kind of a pre-SHOT Marine thing. It really wasn't Marine because there was a bunch of different people there, but it was at the Leatherneck Club, and got to see him and Toby for a little bit and all that. G, besides that, did you go to any of the other shindigs? I know you've been going for a lot of years. You probably are, been there, done that. But was there anything that you went to this year that you thought was pretty cool?
Yeah, I went to a bunch of them, and they were. Well, I went to ones, I guess, that you could say were effective. My favorite one was that FPC one. Because, I'm all about trying to bring Second Amendment focus to the thing.
Right.
And the show isn't really for it, so it's not really the place at the show. So I thought FPC really did a great job this year of at least having the opportunity to talk Second Amendment, and for the people that were there with that, focus on their channels, a place for them to get together at the beginning of the week. Otherwise, I just remember the old stuff. So it's interesting to see how stuff is evolving, and I'm not complaining. I mean, there's lots of people there, so there's lots and lots of things happening, and it seems like a lot of it's happening in productive ways. It's not like for a few years there, I'm going to say 14 to 16 area, it seemed like a lot of the parties were like trying to outdo themselves with exclusivity, and like, well, if you're going to our party, you can't go to this party. We're going to make them on the same day. And there's a lot of, like, oh, my party's better. I went to the cool party. And I mean, I guess that's cool, or it's a thing to do, but I really like the idea of, people having good times at their get-togethers or reinforcing relationships.
And being able to go to multiple things if you choose to do that, is because you're having two different crowds at different parties,
For sure.
Yep. Did anybody go ahead. I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. Did anybody go to any of the NSSF after show? Whether the parties, the concert, anybody? Do you know anyone that went to them? I haven't really heard much about how they were.
It cost too much, and nobody wanted to pay $75. So I wanted to go.
What was that, Snub? I thought I heard Snub say something.
No, it wasn't me. I was muted.
Okay. I haven't even heard. I haven't heard of anyone that actually even went. I didn't go to any of them, but I haven't even heard people talking about them. I was outside, having a conversation with someone, maybe Wednesday, and the band was out there. One of the bands was out doing sound checks and all that, and they had a nice stage and a nice area and all that. But I still have yet to talk to anyone that went to the concert or went to any of the NSSF stuff. So I was kind of hoping to maybe someone had heard about it, because I haven't heard anything about it, which is not a good thing. If you haven't heard anything about them, it probably was not a good idea, or at least, like you said, charging $75 may have been a problem as well. But
I haven't heard anything either, but we got some NSSF people here at this show.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'll ask them, how that went over, what they thought.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear, if they thought it was a success. They'll probably say it was a success, but I haven't heard anyone talking about anything. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. You'd think if it was a good, people would talk about, oh man, you got to do it next year. It's so worth it. I didn't hear anything. So I was just kind of curious about that. Obviously, the guns.com was great that I went to. I don't remember much of it because I was already pretty lit when I got there. I did not make it to the FPC because I decided to stay at the Leatherneck Monday night and see some old friends of mine, and I hadn't seen in a while and all that. Yeah, it was a fun week. It was a great week. Let's kind of go through the room now. I want to start with She Fires on this one. Now that you've been to one and you had your plan kind of for this year, have you already kind of started thinking about your plan for next year and how you might change it at all?
I mean, I felt pretty good about my strategy, what we talked about before,
Yeah.
emailing those that I wanted to target in
Mm-hmm.
advance, and whether they responded or not, which I'd say like 30% did, and I set appointments. Thanks, Chase. Um, but for the other ones, I just kind of popped up. It's like, hey, I sent you a message. I would love to talk with you. And if they had a moment to talk with me then we did. So
Right.
I think I'll use that same strategy.
Now, just a little shout out to understand SHOT's not over. Actually, the hard part of SHOT starts now, and this is the follow-up side of it. For the
Yes.
next 2 to 4 weeks is really when you either reap the benefits of SHOT, or you'll probably know a lot more in another month or so. If I was asked that same question a month from now, you might have a different answer, because this is really where the meat of SHOT really starts happening. Is when you get home, you start kind of calculating everything, and then start reaching back out, because this is where it begins. But yeah, I know you had a great week. Like I said, man, you were kicking ass the whole time. Chris, bring you in. Your strategy or plan going into now that you've been to one, is there going to be some adjustments next year that you can already think of?
I don't really think I'm going to make too many adjustments. I mean, I did the reaching out thing, but honestly, I ended up getting more interviews just kind of doing it on the fly.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to change anything, to be honest with you.
Good. That means you probably did it right, or at least right for you, and all that. Mike, what about you? Anything that you plan on adjusting for next year, if anything?
So far, nope. Going to spend the first
Good.
day getting the lay of the land, and more importantly, reestablishing contact with people I've talked with before.
Yep.
Then the second day doing follow-up, doing videos and stuff with people. And then the third day is going to be wandering around and just picking stuff up on the fly. That's how I think I'm going to approach it.
Absolutely.
Unless something happens that would cause me to change my plans.
Yeah. We all kind of got a wrench thrown in a little bit this year. Let's say with EAA, and but it was nice to be part of that and help them out. Like I said, I've got a newfound respect for the industry side of what they go through at SHOT, because I don't know if I could do it, honestly. I don't know if I could do it, but yeah, it was awesome. Snob Clover G, not your first rodeo. I'm not going to go say would you change. I'm going to say, was there something that you did differently this year that you're glad you made the change to do?
Well, I would talk about, when we talk about change, I would say there's probably going to be a change.
Yep.
And that's because that it's going to be dependent upon what happens the next few days, weeks, months, and leading up to SHOT next year, right? There may need to be a change in strategy depending on what direction I think the channel needs to go and that sort of thing, right? So you need to be open to that, right?
100%.
As far as what I did differently, show me the money. I mean, I went in unapologetic. Said, hey, I've got a podcast, need some funding, got some ad spots and sponsorship things available. What do you think? I pitched all companies that I've done work for and done business with. And, I wasn't timid about it. And it's for the most part, it absolutely worked out.
It was kind of strange, because we were both in that same spot where we kind of evolved a little bit into doing that and understanding that you have to be able to differentiate between friendship and business.
Right.
And luckily, the people that we're friends with in the industry are able to do that. And yeah, is it a little nerve-wracking? You not want to upset one of your friends or companies you've worked with for a while? Sure it is, but there's a reason why you're friends with that company and you continue to do work with it. They like you, you
Well-
like them, and people don't understand it. Sometimes you have to just ask, and it's hard sometimes. But
Yeah.
we also know that they have marketing dollars that they set aside for stuff like
Exactly.
that, and it's
And-
there, you know.
And why would they not? And I mean, Chase might can speak to this, better than anybody. But why would they not if they've got marketing dollars sitting there? Why would they not want to spend that with?
And they haven't
somebody
established
that's proven?
relationships with
Yeah.
someone. Exactly. Yeah.
If you stop for a minute and you think about it, it's like this just makes sense. It just makes sense.
Yeah. It was nerve wracking. So I'll kind of go on the same line. Is nerve wracking, but by Wednesday afternoon, like all the podcasts that I'm involved with, obviously this one, and then the Jarhead, and then the new Ghost and Clover, were pretty much funded by Wednesday afternoon, and that was like, okay, that was a huge relief, because then you could really focus on shot. But it was that was the difference for me this year, was that side as well. But it was nice. It was nice to know that people are receptive to that and they're willing to support that because they know you and they know, how you do business and all that. So yeah, the business side of shot was definitely a new kind of a thing on that side of it. And it was pretty rewarding. I was really happy with it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead and
you're
finish your
fine.
thought.
No, you're fine.
I think you guys have hit on the one thing that, if anything, that I'm going to change next year is kind of approaching things that way. Yeah. I'm going to lay the groundwork for that this year, and then next year maybe approach it that way.
Yeah. It's it's weird. Like I said, I had an old professor years and years ago that said, make money off of your friends if you can, because your enemies aren't going to do business with you. And it sounds crazy to think that way, but you almost have to. Is not saying your enemies, but if you've never worked with a company and you approach them and pitch them, they have no basis to make that decision on. So it is what it is. Bring Chase in, because you do a lot of marketing stuff as well. And, when you get pitched to stuff like that, I mean, what do you as a company, what do you guys consider whether you're going to work with someone and sponsoring something and all that? Is it relationships, or is it kind of a gut feeling, or what?
Hey, before Chase jumps in,
Yep. Yeah.
Just real quick, just mentally, because I like talking over Chase. It's awesome, but it's a progressionary thing, right? Like just so people understand, my pitch with Shot Show is that the whole point is the podcast guest thing is a no commitment, right? Oh,
Right.
let's get you on that. And then that opens you up, and you have a person on, and you get to know that person, and they get to know you. And that typically leads to product, right? To review and other things,
Yeah.
which then leads, like we're talking about, into that scenario where they feel more comfortable cutting the check. Go, Chase. Sorry.
No pressure, but go, Chase.
I mean, no pressure at all.
Yeah.
I mean, no, that's right. I mean, it's some of it's research, some of it's gut feeling, some of it's how that initial reaction went. I'm a pretty fast judge of character personally. For most people, I've usually made a snap decision in 5 seconds of meeting someone, and I'm usually not wrong in what my gut feeling is on something. But most people don't just walk up and go, "Hey, man, I have a channel. Would you give me free stuff for money?" And I would say, like, this year especially, I don't know about y'all on the media side, walking around seeing other people, but it seemed like there was less media there this year, but it was much better quality media.
Can I butt in and ask Chase a business question real quick? Chase, I'm fixing to start a podcast, and I'm going to need $100,000 an episode, but EAA can be the title sponsor.
I mean, how'd you know what my budget was? It's like
done.
Oh, God.
He's like, done. That's all you want is 100,000? You should have asked for 250, man.
Yeah, that's like half price it goes to Clover.
I know.
This is true.
Well, this is true.
Well, we get paid in Turkish. What is it? Turkish.
Yeah, it was like
28,000
28,000 lira or something.
Yeah, we get paid in Turkish lira. So there you go.
Trust me, I've heard some of the prices some of these guys demand, and I just laugh when I hear some of this madness.
I hear podcasts are actually charging their guests like $1,000 to be on their podcast. That's absurd to me.
Podcasts are charging their guests to come on.
Oh,
that's
hell,
absurd
I'm
to
not
me.
paying you for being on here.
Oh, you're already on, bro. So I've already got your Venmo, and I'm requesting that.
Payment
So.
on that,
Yeah.
Wait, you guys aren't paying? Ghost, we need to have a talk.
Damn it!
I
Y'all are
know.
killing me here, Smalls.
So we need to start charging Ghost to be on this all the time. I'm just saying.
Charging me to be on this, absolutely. I'd charge myself if I could, for sure. John, kind of the same thing. When you're talking about marketing side, is there something we already talked about working with creators, but when it comes to like the monetary side, the sponsorships or whatever, what are some of the characteristics that you guys are looking for, or previous companies you were with are looking for when it comes to not just like having a relationship with gear or ammo or whatever, but actually like being included in their projects?
That's hard because it comes down to a number of factors. I've seen a lot of price sheets in the last couple of years, and the numbers are sometimes astronomical in size, but it's one of those things where you have to decide where you want to spend that marketing dollars at. And sometimes it's simple as, hey, I can't, pay for a full ad sponsorship, but here's what I can do. Here's product. Here's stuff that'll help me.
Absolutely.
Because where I'm at now, it's kind of easy because it's very, it's a thing everybody needs. But, it's one of those things where you got to really decide, because you may want, if it's somebody you don't know, it's a new show, you're really hesitant because you don't know about the show, you don't know them, and they could say something off the rails and now your name's tied to it. So
absolutely,
when it comes to people that you've worked with, Ghost is definitely top of the list. Clover, I have to like Lucky Charms and something else to make it worth it.
Right. He can promise a lot of things, I'm sorry, that's an off-air discussion, I guess.
I'm a smooth talker, man.
So what you're saying, I'm hearing from John and Chase, and I kind of figured this, but it's more about the person than the pitch, is what you're saying, right?
It can come down to that, really. It just depends on the person and if they have an established brand, really. Like if they have an established audience. Let's just say, for example, Sean Heron, like I love the guy. I've known the guy for years. It was a really easy decision. But when it came to like some other people, it's like, I don't know you. And then you start watching this stuff and you're like, oh, that really doesn't align with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Now, Rod out there, our good buddy Rod at Aegis Gun Care, says, here at Aegis, we offer a Big Mac meal for sponsorships. That's up from the dollar menu. The dollar menu doesn't exist anymore. It's now called the value menus. I think it's like $2.99 for things now, but I'm down for a Big Mac too, Rod. So I'm all for that.
Yep, I'm in. Done.
I'll actually take if you're willing to. I'll take some Krispy Kreme donuts and a Wendy's Frosty.
Cool.
Those two, I'll dance for you. Absolutely, I'll dance.
And you'll be in the hospital bed next to Paul too.
And I will love yeah, I love every second of it except for the hospital part. So
right,
for sure. We do want to make sure we send another shout out to Paul, and it was great meeting Jeffrey this week. And he's just about as twisted as Paul is, which I like.
Zach was there. Don't forget.
Zach was there. Zach was there for a couple of days. I really wish I had more time with Zach. Zach was a really cool dude. I wish he was there the whole week, but it was great seeing him, meeting him, and all that.
Greg. I was Greg for a little while, and my wife was Emily. So
I was Mauricio for a day or two, so that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I was Greg for
you were also Kim. You were also Kim.
I was also Kim. Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
I was your wife for the day. Go figure. Usually it's the other way around.
Oh, that was true. I was Greg, and you were Kim. Yeah.
Yeah. What happens in Vegas, y'all?
G23 says, what happened with Paul? I don't want to get it. I will just say he had some health complications, and he
can go watch Clover's video for
I explained it in my video I dropped earlier.
Yeah, it's in graphic detail too.
Graphic detail, yeah. But no, he's okay. He's just going to recovery time, but he's okay. But he definitely was not around for shot, unfortunately.
It's all right. I mean, he's a quitter. He just didn't want to be at the shows. All that was.
You've seen what I put on your Instagram post. That Instagram post you put, I'm not kidding. That was an awful selfish move.
It was.
I think you need to consider firing him. Seriously.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sure he loved the card we sent too. That was the best part.
Oh my god.
The cartoon illustrations of the card were kind of priceless. When you know someone has a sick mind and you have to do a get well card, you can only imagine some of the comments were made on that get well card, because only friends can do that to each other, you know.
From the drawings and illustrations to the dirty limericks. I mean, it was a good card.
It was a good card. Good time had by all. Yeah, thanks guys for watching. It's been right at 2 hours and all that. I kind of want to go through the room and let people plug what they want to talk about. I want to start with John. Anything that you need to bring up or talk about business wise or anything like that right now?
No, that's about really it. Just make sure that you guys, follow me on Instagram at John Fontaine, and if you like cigars and gun content and anything else like that, just hit me up if you need anything.
You're a good man, Charlie. I miss seeing you this week. There will be many. We're gonna have to make up for it, which could be pretty dangerous. Just saying, could be pretty dangerous.
As long as it's just you, I'm good. The other one,
oh baby, yeah.
I don't think you get one without the other, though.
Look who's talking.
It's part of that
walking around with your damn entourage.
Mm-hmm.
Although I was a little disappointed, y'all left Gary in the dust a lot this week. I didn't see Gary with you guys much.
How do you know? Hey, how do you know Gary didn't leave them?
Oh, that's true too. I didn't think about that side of it. He very well just said to hell with you guys.
I tried to leave the other two most of the time. So
I understand. It does help. It does help when you've got someone to, at least for partial time, to walk around with and be camera persons for each other. But more importantly, be able to like discuss things, and then obviously you have to do it on your own, a lot of stuff. But Clover and I had some stuff that we had to take care of as a partnership, not a legal partnership, but just a business partnership. So it was nice to walk around.
Able to get married, you guys went ahead and used the reservation at the wedding chapel for you two, or what?
No. The marriage license were for two other people. Yeah, it's not official, but there is a marriage license. Just saying. So, we'll see.
The year is young. Don't worry.
Oh, it will be used, and it can be changed.
Wedding chapels too. So.
Guarantee it.
Oh,
Elvis might not be there, but they do have wedding chapels, I'm sure. Yes.
Oh, they do.
Chase, as far as you guys had a big week in a lot of different ways, but congrats on the 2311. For those of you that may not have heard from like 11,000 people talking about the Witness 2311, you want to spend a couple of minutes talking about the different options in that?
So basically, the Witness 2311 is our entry into the double stack 1911 world. But the difference in ours is we're going to do 9, 10, and 45, and we're going to do it in an officer, a commander, a government, and a 6-inch 10 hunter.
And the biggest thing about that is what?
The best part is the price. That gun's going to start as a $999 street price.
Yeah, a sub 1,000 double stack 1911. That's pretty amazing. And I suggest people out there, if you ever get a chance to shoot one, do, because you're going to pick it up no matter what model it is. And you say, oh my gosh, this is so light. And then you're kind of nervous about, well, if it's so light, what's the recoil like? And there is zero recoil. It's pretty phenomenal design you guys have. It's amazing. So
it's absolutely sick.
There's a lot of thought went in that gun. Like, there's a lot of time behind those guns. You've got something good though, and all your competition is coming to check it out.
Yes, they were.
The entire staccato,
and they were not real happy with you guys either.
Yeah, some of them weren't. Some of them were, were like, "Oh, that's pretty slick. That's a cool idea." Some of them not so much.
That's great.
This makes me happy.
Yeah, it was great seeing you as well, bud. I know it was a stressful shot. It's going to be a stressful post shot. You're stuck in parts unknown.
Phoenix this week.
I'm surprised you and John aren't together right now, to be honest with you. I'm just saying.
Well, that's because we just realized that we're both sitting in Phoenix, so we're going to remedy that problem.
I would imagine. Please have video of that. Please take video.
They're meeting
of
at
that
the Motel
night.
6 in a couple hours.
Yeah,
they do charge by the hour. I'm just saying.
I have a really nice hotel room. I don't know what y'all are talking about. I don't stay in those peasant accommodations that under the freaking stairs.
Yeah. All right. Speaking
You got to do what you got to do to get by, man.
Speaking of under the stairs, we'll bring Budget in, or Mike from MK Outdoor Journal. Anything that you want to talk about shot real quick that we haven't talked about, and then go ahead and let people know where they can find you and all your projects coming up, Mike.
No, I think it's pretty much been wrapped up as far as shot goes. As far as MK Outdoor Journal, there's some, going to be off my hiatus here real shortly. I've got some changes coming though. The Right of the People will be returning, but there are going to be some changes made. I'm going to do a channel update video to talk about that. Got some videos coming soon. I'm going to try to get my shot stuff edited and posted up this weekend first, clear that all out of the way, and then I can get to filming some new stuff. And it's going to be I think it's going to be a good year this year. Just kind of stay tuned for that.
So my question to you, I want to ask you and She Fires and Chris, looking back on it now, I think I know the answer, but is there any hesitation on going to shot worth it?
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of revitalized my drive to do this more.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I came back, although I was dying,
Right.
came back Saturday crafting emails.
Yep.
Nice.
So yeah, definitely excited.
Yeah, I love the fact that all three of you guys went there and just crushed it. You guys were all over the place. You were hustling. You were bustling. You were doing good work, and it was really refreshing to see. Not that any of us ever had any doubts that the three of you, are hard workers to begin with, but it was really nice to see that you weren't overwhelmed by the moment and you just kind of kept your head down and went. That's really kind of what you got to do.
Yeah.
Bring in She Fires real quick, and anything you want to bring up and close out on shot, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
More importantly, tell people where they can find you and maybe some of the projects you have going on right now.
No, yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks again for having me. Nice
Anytime.
talking with all of you. Yeah, I'm just trying to finish up the editing for the range day video. And then separate from that, I have a shot show highlights type video that I'm trying to get finalized. So after that, I'm hoping that some of the products that I've been trying to coordinate, some things are coming in, waiting for that to arrive. So I'll have new content to show on my channel. Specifically, I was successful stopping by Standard Manufacturing. So definitely look out for a video coming soon on that.
Oh, G-Webs is going to be jealous. Just saying.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on, and love meeting you. Your husband. It was just great. It was great. The energy you brought. The problem that I have with you is you always have a damn smile on your face, and that's just annoying. I'm just saying. I'm a pretty grouchy person.
I know.
Well, every time that I saw you had a big smile on your face, so that was refreshing.
Give her time; she'll get jaded. It's all good.
She will. She'll hate the world. Absolutely.
We'll turn her eventually. She hang out with us enough.
I'm glad you saw her with a smile. Every time I saw her, she was giving me a go to hell look and stay away from her look.
Oh
so,
no!
I don't know.
But you get that look from everybody though, bro.
Well, yeah.
I was gonna say you shouldn't have been surprised by that.
Yeah.
Right.
Chris, I'm gonna bring you in. Anything that you want to wrap up with shot and all that, but once again, what are some of the projects you've got going on, and what can people find you and see what you're doing?
Well, first I want to say thank you to you, Ghost, and Clover and G-Webs for getting all of us first timers kind of prepped for going. You guys were a big help.
I want to say thank you to Snob, because he's the one that basically shamed you into going this year.
This is true.
And that he has a lot to do with that, but no, it was our pleasure.
No, and thank you for that. And then I want to thank Snob for talking me into going over and talking to the guys at Live Free Armory. That was a pretty awesome experience over there. So as far as what I got coming up, tomorrow night we'll have the Wednesday night live chat at 9 Eastern. She Fires will be there. 2A We Stand, Range Bros TV, Millsurp Duo. So we're gonna basically have a all first timers show coming back from shot.
Nice.
Nice.
So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, Nick kind of knocked it out of the park too. Nick was everywhere.
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
Yeah, and I got I'm just going to be cranking out SHOT Show videos all this week, and then I'll be off to the Great American Outdoor Show to do a bunch more filming over there.
There's a good chance you might see Chase there. Just
Hell no, you won't.
I think
Did
Chase might,
just come
Chase
to us
might
from
get
the bathroom
divorced.
then?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's definitely in the bathroom. Oh man, that's
No, I'm
that's not
definitely in
good.
the hallway, and it's like all tile, and it's loud as shit in here.
Yeah, awesome. Like I said, all three of you should be proud. You guys did a great job. So, not that that was any, we were expecting that from you guys. So, but you guys did a great job. Snob, bring you in. Anything you want to clean up with SHOT Show, and what all do you have coming down the line now?
I'm gonna echo what I heard from a big douchebag. I mean, a big gun channel last night. SHOT Show is dead. There's no reason to go. It's the stupidest thing ever for
Absolutely.
you to go. And so I'm not going to be going next year. I'm just going to go with that.
Yep.
And
Yeah, please, if you didn't go this year, don't go back next year. It's not worth it. It's really not.
And also,
except for John. We'll let John come back next year.
And also, congratulations to all the 3 new timers or first timers that are in here. They did impressive work this week. So
100%.
Well, except for Budget, screw him. But the other 2.
Well, Budget had to sleep on an air mattress underneath the stairs, so he was kind of screwed.
Oh, so he just wasn't well rested, is what you're saying.
He wasn't well rested. No, he had to live with us, so he only got about 3 hours sleep a day.
Okay.
He wasn't real happy with us going down the stairs at weird hours of the morning, waking up at 4 o'clock and all that. So, yeah, I would love to have Budget back. I think that I'd be surprised if he stays with me in Clover next year. I think
Budget's like, I'm staying in the Venetian next year. Screw this peasant stuff.
Well, there was only one set.
Me?
There was also only one set of keys to the condo, so that was interesting because we're on different places and all of that. That was interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
I'll just go ahead.
I paid less for that week in Vegas than I would pay for a night at the freaking Venetian.
This is true. No, that is true.
I'm not
100%.
ashamed. I'll do the peasant thing.
Nice. I'll say this year, this upcoming shop now will be Harrah's will be the place to go now. That's where we're staking out this upcoming year.
Well, we might have to jump in on if you go and get a block of rooms, that might be something to think about, is jumping in that block of rooms. Hey, there's Nick out there. Nick did a great job as well. The Millsurp Duo. Go check him out. Did a great job this week. He was everywhere as well, so it was good to see him. G, anything you want to close up with SHOT Show? And I know you got a bunch of projects going on. Some you can't talk about yet, but I think you're probably looking forward to a really cool 2023. Are you not?
Yes and no. Yes and yes. It's just that I did have a little bit of, annoyance when I came back and got demonetized on YouTube yesterday. So channel, it's been 2009 and weathered through all kinds of strikes and stuff, and now they just demonetized it. So it was a couple $100. It's not like a ton of money, but it's frustrating. So I just want to throw out that, y'all on different platforms, so value that and keep your backups and your more than backups, your attention on some of those other, I'm talking the wrong thing, some of your attention on those other platforms. You can be of value. Everything you were talking about today is amplified when we're on multiple platforms, when we're using the whole internet. So, I'm planning to do, lean into that and do some featured stuff with workshops on the gear side with, some of the ways to use your LinkedIn or Linktree and the different versions of Linktree so that you can monetize your platforms even when the platforms aren't conducive to what we're doing. But also, SHOT Show is a whole bunch of other things besides guns. So you all travel to get there. You spend a lot of money doing it. More than likely, you ate places. You can do reviews of those restaurants and the food that you ate.
Budget definitely did a review on one of the places we ate.
Well, but I'm saying, there's ways to monetize that, and we are on YouTube. Yeah. We're on a giant platform. There's people that are traveling to that city, so you've got to. We all had a lot of experience this week, and I'll be trying to help people keep that in mind as we go forward. Don't forget about that stuff. You can monetize your cameras. Thanks to Pink for hooking me up with a bunch of new phones. I had no idea how good phones are. I'm using a phone that's ancient technically. So I'm looking forward to having some workshops going forward so that people kind of pay attention to that stuff that can be monetized on YouTube. And more than just monetization, that means it gets reach. So if we're trying to get real words or, real important stuff out there, we're trying to normalize guns, we're trying to get Second Amendment issues out there. We can do that better when we have more reach. And when you do things like the flashlights and the key rings and the boots that we were wearing, perhaps, or the bags that we were carrying, we do reviews like that and include that in our coverage of SHOT Show. That gives us that reach. And at the same time, YouTube will pay us for that. So that'll help us get to SHOT Show next year. Absolutely. Oh, anyway, so, every weeknight at midnight, we'll still be doing the daily gun show. So join us then.
And it's not obviously necessary, but, Chris and She Fires and Budget have thanked a lot of people for helping them understand that most of the people that you're thanking that helped you learn from G. G was instrumental, at least for Clover and I and Snob. The first years we went, we didn't have a clue what to expect. And G helps out so many people in a lot of different ways. So I think basically everyone that knows G, I'm going to put him on a spot here, but I think we all will have a big thanks to you for everything that you've done for the community and for us as well. But it was really great to see you this week. I know that there was a stressful moment a few days ahead of time. You weren't sure if you were going to make it, but it was awesome to see you as well, as always. And I wish I would have seen the pup. I would have seen.
Oh, he's going for sure from now on.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm furious with you for not bringing the pug. I didn't even want to talk to him at the show. I pretty much ignored him.
I want to chime in on that too, because when we were at range day, about once every hour, G-Webs would come up to us and say, do you guys need anything? So just thank you, G-Webs, for all that.
G's one of those that almost in a very unselfish way to a lot of people is more, I don't know how to put this. He's more interested in other people's success, and that's a tremendous asset to have. Clover, I really don't care what you're doing. I really don't care what you think about SHOT, but if someone out there, yeah, exactly. But there might be someone out there that cares about what you say. So I'm gonna give you a couple seconds, but talk about some of the projects you have going on, and can I recap anything with SHOT that we didn't talk about?
So first,
all right, that was great. Let's end it.
Exactly.
Yep. Thanks for having me, everybody. We'll see you next week. Yeah.
See you, everybody. Yeah. I figures the Okie would do that. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll echo first of all what everybody said about budget. I'm going to say budget, not MK Outdoor Journal, and he'll just have to deal with it. But and She Fires and Chris and Milsurp Duo and all of the other ones that showed up at SHOT and worked hard. It's tough because we have these conversations and it's with the with the rookies, it's with the newbies, and a lot of times we have conversations and we know they're going to be good, and SHOT Show comes, and I feel like I let them down in a way because I've got my own things I've got to do, and so
that's because you do let them down, but
yeah, well, it's true.
Dude,
but
you got to do for you.
We said don't have far.
There's a certain point when we got to stop holding the hand and get the.
I get it, but it's one of them things where you see, like, we stayed with you, so that was easy, but like She Fires and Chris and I mean, I've seen them 2, maybe 3 times during the show or something, but I've said it all in all. I don't go to take selfies with people. I go. SHOT Show is one of the things I want to maximize my ROI. That trip is costly. It's not handed to me. And I need to be able to make the most of it. And once you get there, right, and all 3 of the rooks we have on the panel tonight, they understand it now. Like, once you get there, it's time to work. Some of the parties afterwards, you can let your hair down, smoke breaks or here and there, but for the most part, you got to work. And I'm proud to see the work that they put into SHOT. For She Fire specifically, I won't mention the details, but I will just say thank you for what you did, and that really helped on the way home. I totally enjoyed that little gift.
This is a family-friendly show,
I
by the way.
understand.
Just
I
saying.
understand. But yeah,
That
really,
did sound a
really,
little.
that came in handy. That's all I'll say. So anyway,
Of course.
as far as content, so it's really weird. The shot showed with the stress of shot and the stress of what G Webs was talking about with some of the YouTube things going on. By the way, I did have a meeting with YouTube earlier today about G Web situation, about some other channels that have experienced some issues at shot. It was very stressful. Coming home, in the car on the way home, and people having problems, and I was out of pocket and I wasn't able to deal with it. Or try to follow up and try to help figure things out. And that sucked. But just know I did have have established communications with YouTube, and we're trying to sort through and parse through and figure out what's going on and what the remedy to everything is. So just stand by for the standby with that. But with all of the stress and with being out at shot, I told my wife, I said, it sounds crazy. And on the way home, I bought, I don't know, about $100 worth of sports cards at different places that we stopped. And I told her, this sounds crazy, but I just went to shot and I'm looking forward to the Thursday night live stream on the card channel to just get away from everything for
You're
an hour
such a
or two.
nerd. You know that?
Isn't
You're
that
such a
crazy?
nerd.
I
No,
know.
I love
You'll
sports
be
cards
you'll be
too.
there. You'll be there.
I'll be the first one there. I love that. Yeah.
Right.
I'm a sports
I
cards
did
nerd
pick
as
up.
well.
I did pick up one of the things I picked up, and there was a definite reason why was Boba Fett season 1 trading cards. So
Oh snap!
those, yeah, I don't know if we're going to do those Thursday or not, but yeah, really looking forward to those. But yeah, it's just something different to get away. But as far as content, dropped a video today. The mighty EAA Witness 2311, worst SHOT Show video ever. And if you're curious what happened to Paul during SHOT Show, well, I'll go through all of that in that video too. So definitely check that one out. But as far as videos from SHOT, I dropped a lot of shorts videos. Not my shorts, but
That's kind of
short
redundant,
videos.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, that's true.
you dropping
This is
shorts. I
true.
don't
Any
see
video
that.
is going to be a short. Yeah, right. I think there might be 3 more videos from SHOT coming this week, something like that. There's not many. I did have some promises I made to a few companies that, yeah, I would film in your booth, so there are a few of those coming. Obviously, a range day montage. I got to get that put together. That'll be kind of a cool little thing. And then, yeah, going to start early next week. The follow ups. One thing I will say to the newbies is don't follow up too early. We heard, and I think Ghost can back me up on this. We heard several people say at least a week, like wait at least a week and maybe 2 after SHOT Show is done before you get in touch with us. So, I'll start making the contacts, reestablishing contact in, and I've already got things here. There was folks that sent me stuff during talking about products to do videos on that actually sent me stuff during the show. Talked to them and they're like, "What's your address here?" And they were on their phone and they're like, "Done, it's on its way." And I had stuff in the mailbox actually when I got here and stuff on the front porch too. So I have some stuff to get me by until we start the Ghost and Clover podcast, which will be kicking off here before too terribly long, which is something new that Ghost and I are collabing on, and then kicking off the early season of the getting guests scheduled for that and everything for the early season of the Clover Tag podcast. So now that I've taken up 20, 30 minutes of your airtime, I'll turn it back over to you.
I fell asleep halfway through, so I really
know,
wasn't
right?
listening. But yeah. I do want to say I like to make fun of Rich White because he's an easy target to do that. But he might have won the internet tonight. He comments on Clover. Shorts are just full length pants. That's the true. This is the truest statement that's been said all night. So yeah. As far as me, yeah, I've already put out several videos. I put the Witness video out there, Anderson video, a BRG video. I've got one more to drop tomorrow, and I'll be done with that. Back to your regularly scheduled stuff. Like I said, the podcast, we're going to do some different things with this podcast in the next year. Obviously, the Jarhead podcast, we're going to have some really cool stuff happening with that. And then, like Clover said, we're starting.
Oh, you made some awesome contacts, I heard.
I did. It was pretty amazing how the Jarhead podcast is going to play out. I also had one of the greatest ideas ever, and I still might do it. I had a buddy of mine that told me that I should go after Crayola as a sponsor for the Jarhead podcast, and it never even crossed my mind. But getting crayons to actually sponsor the Jarhead podcast might be something I have to do just to see if they'd be receptive to it.
That would be so genius.
Yeah, when someone said that, I was like, how did I not ever think of that? Like, that's brilliant. Like, that is brilliant. How I never thought of that. But yeah, I might have to do that. But the Close and Clover podcast will be kicking off here the next month or so, and that'll be a fun podcast. It'll be a little bit different than what you might be accustomed to for podcasts, but it'll be fun for sure. We'll have a good time with it. But yeah, go check out everyone on this panel. Go check out their companies. Go check out their channels, their podcasts, their videos. Make sure that you're supporting the people that are actually putting in the work. And it's not a dig on anyone that didn't go, because there's reasons why people didn't go. But for the ones that did go, watch their videos, share their videos. You're only helping the industry, and whether or not you typically watch them or not, go check them out. You might find something on their channel that you didn't know existed. So, expose yourself, not expose yourself, that's probably a bad way, but yeah, expose yourself to some different channels that you may not have watched before. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming. 2.5 hours, you're not getting your money back. For those that are still here, man, there's still a lot of people watching this 2.5 hours in. You're not getting your money back, but I appreciate you dropping by. If you're watching this in replay or listening to the podcast and you're still with us, God bless you. You need to get a life, but we appreciate you spending 2.5 hours of your life listening to this crap. So thank you so much for everyone for coming. Watch, learn, share, like, support the people that are trying to do good work in this industry, the channels, the companies, everyone involved. From what I saw at SHOT Show this week, the gun community is in very good hands, and it looks like it's going to be a positive 2023. So let's get out there, buy more guns, support the industry as much as you can, because without the consumer, there won't be any more companies. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you soon. Semper Fi.